Hello everyone and welcome back to my live stream. So, Msfs just decided that it would need to remove all my view controls from me, most likely related to the Navigraph app, because it happened while we were working on it. But we are back now. Unfortunately, I've had to restart the simulator overall, and the saved flight was also not working. So, therefore, I'm afraid we'll have to live with it like it is, and we'll have to start from scratch. Luckily enough, the event today lasts until 2100 UTC, so there's still plenty of time to fly both sectors that we wanted to go. I apologize to everyone for the inconveniences. You know, Microsoft Flight Simulator is just Microsoft Flight Simulator at times. So, quick update for those who have not been with us on the first attempt. We are sitting in Cologne in the 737-700 freighter, and we're going to fly on the VATSIM event to Leipzig and back. We'll start this from the captain's seat, reviewing the weather. It's CAF on both airports, and at our alternate as well, and the NOTAMs don't give us anything significant as well. Therefore, we'll start off with the 4.8 tons of fuel. That's the minimum we need for this flight. Let's also quickly log back into VATSIM. This also resets when you restart the computer. And here we are. Right, we'll go the quick way on this one because I do want to I do not want to waste too much time. So bear with me for doing the pre-flight just a little bit faster than we would usually do it. When we pick up at the time where we've last left off, then we'll go back to doing everything, let's call it, in understandable speed. Nonetheless, I will just say that the speed at which we are doing things right now is pretty much the same that we would do things like in real life. So if you want to see how quickly we can do some stuff in the airplane, then this is it. Alright, so unfortunately I don't want to use that Navigraph app again in the simulator, so I'm afraid I will not be able to show you the charts right in the sim, but what we can do is we can just use them externally in Google Chrome. If that one hangs up, that's not going to be too much of a loss. Alright, so let's get this going. Departure briefing. Threats for the departure. I don't really see too many threats for this one. It's good weather, the airport's in a good shape, the aircraft is in a good shape, and well, let's actually make this a little bit more exciting. And what we are going to do is we are going to hand fly this instead of using the autopilot. So one small threat for the departure there is that this thing is going to be manually flown. So we'll carefully have to monitor that everything is working the way it's designed to, and that I'm not acting anything up. What we'll do, we'll use the raw data on the left-hand side, and then use the navigation display on the right-hand side to back it up, to make sure that we're not messing anything up. Alright, and that shall be it. Then let's do a quick route check. So we've got OFP number 1, we're going from Echo Delta Delta Kilo, Echo Delta Delta Papa, and we are the Alpha Bravo Romeo 197. The routing is going to go via Podip, Yankee 867 Pelon, Yankee 870 Abzul, Zulu 858 Berdi, Tango 958 Kojak, and we have a Kojak arrival. And the ground distance 249 versus 253, that is pretty much good enough. Okay, let's see, we'll execute this as well for now. So, time UTC 1724, altimeter 1023, giving me 1300, giving me 300-ish. The MFRA is going to go to 1300 for now. The flight directors are on minus master and standby instrument set. It's going to be a left seat takeoff from a 3 to right, flaps 5, NADP 2, buck up at 1500. And we have a specially OSIT that's basically straight ahead to 4 miles from Kilo Bravo Oscar, and then we'll perform a right-hand turn inbound to Wipper VOR, pick up the hold over at Wipper. Okay, above 80 knots, I'll only reject the takeoff for fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning, aircraft unable or unsafe to fly. If I call stop, I'll simultaneously close the thrust lever, disengage the auto throttle. I'll apply maximum manual brake and verify operation of the RT auto brakes, and when the aircraft comes to stop, I'll start the parking brake. If you call stop and note the brakes on, speed call speed brakes up, speed brakes not up, and thrust reverse normal up, normal indications. Call 100 knots, 8 knots, 6 knots, and the runway distance remaining. Verify your actions, call your emissions, high call auto brake disarm, and select flap 40 when the parking brake has been set, and advise ATC of the reject. We'll then identify the failure and carry out any drills as appropriate. If you decide to evacuate the aircraft, we'll redo the evacuation checklist. Time permitting, we'll pull the CBR circuit breaker. And if the call before we want is keep going, there'll be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings, raise landing over the positive rate. 400 feet for heading select, and we'll carry out the memory items. At the MFRA, buck up, retract flaps and schedule. Flaps up and light, select level change, MCT, engage the automatics, non-normal checklist, normal checklist, and then we'll decide on a further plan. Push back with the nose to the right hand side, and then let's have a quick look at the ground chart here. Nose to the right hand side, and then we will taxi via Alpha, cross runway 24, and then we'll take Alpha 2 intersection figures for our departure. And the departure itself is the Podip 1 Charlie departure, that's on chart over here, going straight ahead until, let's see, we're in the Podip 1 Charlie, that's number 1, until 1.8 DME from Kilo Bravo Oscar. Then a right-hand turn, join the radial 242 in Mount Gamminghausen VOR. Maximum 210 knots until we're established. We'll fly that until 21.1 miles. Then it's going to be the radial 106 outbound Wipper VOR until 26 DME from Cologne Bonn VOR, which is then going to be Podip. Let's quickly review the ANAF version of this as well. That's going to be over here. Alright, Podip 1 Charlie ANAF departure overlay. So we'll climb to an altitude of 5,000 feet. That's set. And the routing then straight at Delta Kilo 041 above 700 feet. 041, 700, right turn, Delta Kilo 035, maximum 210 knots. 062, 11.6 Imodipodip, then 106, 16, Delta Kilo 038 of course, and then 106, 16.1 to Podip. Initial climb 5,000, we'll put that in here. And 5001 is pre-selected. Okay, do you have any questions? Perfect, then let's go ahead and get our IFR clearance. Oh, they don't have a delivery online, okay. But that's fine. In the real Cologne, they only just recently introduced deliveries with the summer flight plan starting. Previously, it's always been ground covering both. Köln Ground, hello, contract 197, information uniform, request clearance to Leipzig. Contract 197 is cleared to Leipzig via the Podip on Charlie departure flight plan route, climb by set 5000, squawk 1000. Okay, so they've got one more hole to fill. This is done and this is done. So once the forward hold is completely loaded, we'll be ready to go. In the meantime, 5000, Podip on Charlie, squawk 1000. Okay, some are saying you can't hear ATC. Okay, I see. There's something wrong with ATC audio. Standby 1. Okay, bear with me shortly. I'm actually not using OBS Studio for too long, so I'll just quickly have to find my way around this. Contract 197, radio check.
Contract 197, bringing to business.
Thank you very much. Alright, so that's done. Now we're just waiting for the front loaders to be finished, and then we're basically ready to go. So yeah, I didn't say it at the beginning of the stream, I'm flying the Prime Air livery here. This one says operated by Southern Air Inc. In real life, the Prime Air operating out of Cologne and of Leipzig is operated by ASL Ireland. Okay, some say you want the ATC louder. Can't put it louder here anymore, but let's do it in the settings then.
You're transfer for Charlie, what's my position?
Comes to Patron, it was Echo 1-3, you already missed the second next
Alright,
left.
now it should be better.
Taking next left and apologize.
So let's see how they are doing. They are finished. Alright, so that's this. Let's quickly get to our performance now. 50.2 versus 53.4. That's quite a bit missing. Let's quickly cross-check that we've actually loaded what we wanted to take. But yeah, we have. Okay, then it's probably my SimBrief layout for the freighter that's inaccurate. Okay, takeoff weight 55.1 tons.
Namen Lufthansa Cargo A274, holding short Echo.
Cargo A274.
So, performance tool, again, only for the 800 for now, but it's gonna come for the 700 at a later point. So, Cologne, 3 to right, Alpha 2, dry. Let's see what the ATIS is saying here. Information uniform. So, 320 at 6. 22 degrees, 1020, takeoff weight 55,100. Calculate, 22k, 61 degrees, Tora 2545. So 22k, 61 degrees, 86.4, 85.7, that's close enough. Flaps 5, trim 6.1. And then the takeoff speeds, I'm going to take them from the FMC rather than from the takeoff performance calculator, since the calculator is for an 800 while we are sitting in the 700 here.
Nee. Warte.
Alright, perfect.
Aber gutes Gedächtnis. Das macht der Controller aus.
Good, so that's it.
So you're trans 2406, ready for taxi.
You're trans 2406, taxi to heading point, runway 3 to right via Alpha.
3 to right via Alpha, there is correction, you're trans 2406.
Ground power can go. Parking brake is set. Shocks can go. Let's start connecting. Let's do a manual pushback today.
This is ground. Stand
This way to
by.
the Airbus Beluga from crossing left to right or in front, and then continue straight ahead Echo 36 Lufthansa Cargo A274. Schon sind wir als Beluga eingeloggt?
Ja, zumindest im Flugplan.
Ah, oh nee, das ist Fehler, das ist ein A300.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed. Standing by for pushback.
Okay, so safety inspection checks before start checklist down to the line. Services checks, check. Maintenance status, check. Battery on. Electric hydraulic pumps on. Landing gear lever down. Ship's library checked. RS mode selectors. Nav, gear pins. 1, 2, 3 removed. Probe covers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 removed. Light test. We didn't do that.
Last mission coding second.
Alright, light test checked, oxygen, chest 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches, normal and auto, fuel. So, we are going to require, here it is, 4,681 kilos, and we have 4,780 kilos on board, and that's with 4 pumps on.
You're trans 2406, contact power 124,975.
Cabin utility IV galley power on, emergency exit lights armed, fasten belts on, window heat on, air compress, pack sorter bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector, auto, instruments, cross-checked, auto brakes, RTO, hydraulics, normal, speed brake, down detent, parking brake set, step and cutout switches, normal, wheel by fire warning, checked, radius, radar and transponder, set and alt off. Rudder and aileron trims, 3 and 0, take-up briefing discussed, PA, well, dear boxes and pallets, welcome aboard this flight to Leipzig. Nope, that's complete. FMC CDU, set M1 and IS box, automatic, reduce 22k, speeds 19, 22, 30 set, step trim, 6.2 set, performance weight and balance, send, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight of windows and cockpit door, locked, doors closed, passengers, well, none on board, before start checks complete down to the line.
For the 1 Shuttle departure 5000, 1000 squawk DHL 1 and a clock.
Delta Hotel Lima 194, requesting.
Contract 197, then Bravo 22 ready for push and start.
Contact 197, push approved. Question, push approved, face north.
Push approved, face north, contract 197. Below the line, air compacts off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder alt off. 4 star checks complete.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
Yeah, we'll start in the sequence.
Okay, we're beyond the red line, starting 2. And 2, all pressure, and 1.
Delta 64, stand Alpha 6, request push back, start up. Delta 64, push approved. Push approved, Delta 64. Condor 2 Papa, Cranbourne ground, hello. Info Victor, started approved, cleared Leipzig via Port of 1 Charlie departure. Flaps en route, climb via altitude 5,000 feet, squawk 1,000.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Brake set,
Parking
start
brake
1.
set. Ground. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
And 2, all pressure, and 1.
Started approved, did Leipzig via Port of 1 Charlie departure. Flaps en route, climb via altitude 5,000 feet, squawk 1,000.
Roger, Shuttle approved, cleared to Leipzig via Port of 1 Charlie departure, flight en route via the sit to 5,000 and squawk 1,000, Ryanair 11.
Ryanair 11, request correct.
Okay, start a cutout, monitor 1, 1 stable.
DHL 1 and 4, 10 whiskey.
Flight controls. And the before taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto bleeds on, isolation valve auto, flaps 5 required, 5 CL elected and green light, step trim 6.2 set.
Okay, the station calling for pushback.
Startlibus, idle tent, flight controls checked, recall is checked. Complete.
Pushback approved, the DHL 194.
Taxicab 1004, push approved.
Contract 197, request taxi.
Contract 197, taxi via Bravo, Hotel Alpha.
Bravo, Ultra Alpha, contract 197. Okay, that's just a couple meters straight ahead. Config. Ah, there's the FedEx 777 coming in. That's probably the reason we have to hold there.
Current ground, Copenhagen, FedEx 49 Tango, Alpha 5, short exit.
FedEx 49 Tango, current on ground, Shuttle, taxi to stand Echo 21 via Alpha.
Echo 21 via Alpha, FedEx 49 Tango.
Condor to Papa, push approved. Contract 197, goodbye to the FedEx 777, joining Alpha from Alpha 5, thereafter taxi boarding point from 3 to right via Echo Alpha 4 Alpha.
Contract 197, behind the FedEx taxi, holding point 3 to right via Echo Alpha 4 Alpha.
Contract 78, taxi boarding point from 3 to right via Blue Line Alpha.
Ground to Ryanair 120, taxi to the gate.
And I want to the right ground, hello.
Okay, you cleared us via Alpha 4, that's the next to the right.
Right, I want to the right taxi via Echo Alpha 5, full shuttle place.
Via Echo, Alpha 5, holding short Alpha, Ryanair 120.
Right, let's do the before takeoff checks. Config, checked, flaps 5 green light.
Contact tower 124, 975, goodbye.
104 975, contract 197, jet.
Ground.
Hello, contract 197 on Alpha.
Contract Contact 197, Kirkman Tower, hallo. Contact 24, continue Alpha.
Course 24, continue Alpha, contract 197. Okay, we cleared the cross. So let's do the before takeoff checks again. Config checked, flaps 5, green light, step trim 6.2, set. Takeoff briefing. It's going to be a lefty takeoff, runway 3 to right from Alpha 2, flaps 5, NADP 2, backup 1500. We're going to fly raw data. So here we are. Straight at 1.8 miles KBO, right turn radial 242 in Mount Germinghausen. Climbing 5000, contact departure 13535 when passing 2000. Apart from that, specially OSIT is to 4 DME from KBO, and then it is right hand turn to Wipper, climbing 4000, hold 360 left turns. Reviewed. Cabin secure, before takeoff checks down to the line complete. We cleared across 24, clear left, clear right.
Bravo Flash 832, Kirkman Tower, hello. Reach 01 6 knots, runway 3 to right, clear left.
I want clear to right, clear to left, for 5 inches.
Contract 197 ready for departure, able Alpha 2 if it helps.
Contact 197, Roger, taxi via Alpha.
Taxi Alpha 2, contract 197. Contract 197, how far is the landing traffic out?
The landing traffic is 5 miles.
Then we go full length, no sense in Alpha 2 then. Yeah, we could have made it out if he didn't give the landing clearance straight away to the other aircraft. But well...
behind next landing, Airbus A3 continue, line up runway 3 to right behind.
Contract 197 beyond the next landing, that's just about over the threshold, line up 3 to right behind. Right, let's put the flight directors off again, we're going to fly this manually. Below the line, MCP, set. Transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, holding at landing lights. So, clear on the right, and one guy rolling on the left. So let's recap. Straight ahead 1.8 miles, right turn 062 Germinghausen until 21.1, and then we'll join the radial 106 outbound Wipper. Contact departure when passing 2000.
Tower leaving DHL 1NX4 on Delta, joining Alpha for holding point 3 to right.
Lufthansa 194, Cologne Tower, hello, runway 24, continue
Cross runway 24, continue to Alpha, DHL 1NX4.
Contact 197, wind still 136 knots, runway 3 to right, clear for takeoff, goodbye.
Contact 197, runway 3 to right, clear takeoff, bye.
Runway 85.
Landing lights on before takeoff checks complete. Stabilized. Start takeoff thrust.
Right, Echo, Hotel noise,
Takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
121.725 today, 15
80 knots.
Checked.
V1, rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. So I don't want to know what that speed bug is doing here, but that one's been bugged since I don't know when.
Left gear 1 to the 4, line up runway 3 to right.
Here we are again.
Contact 726,
So, back up.
turn left at into 30 degrees, descend altitude 3000 feet, QNH 1020.
Flap 1. Start the right turn. Flaps up. Langaralo, contract 197, 2300 climbing 5000, port at 1 Charlie.
Contact 197, lang weather, hello, identified, climb flight level 140.
Contract 197, climb flight level 140.
Hearing 425, contact tower 124, decimal 975, bye-bye.
124, decimal 975, Euro is 425, good night.
Set. 140, checked.
Alaska 90418, proceed direct to Cola.
So, flaps up the lights. Set standard. We'll start the climb thrust manually here. And then we'll start focus flying the aircraft again. So, air cannon press, 2.6, climbing, set, altimeters, standard, passing 5.6, climbing 140, after takeoff checks complete.
Alaska 1004, Langrada, hello, identified.
So, at 21.1 miles from Germinghausen, we're going to turn right on the radial 106 outbound.
Alaska 90418, descend altitude 4000 feet, QNH 1020. Descend altitude 4000 feet, QNH 1020, Alaska 90418. Lufthansa 553, contact tower 124, decimal 975, bye-bye.
124, 975,
Outcome 186, Langrada, hello, identified, information Victor Oscar, then flight level 70.
Right, passing 100, climb 140, 10 checks, fuel balanced, 4 pumps, lights off, APU off, air compressed, 4-2 climbing set, fast melts on, recall checked. And let's start the right hand turn here. Radio 106. From
Contract 726, then right heading to Nana 0, Slater, left and retreating right.
And let's start the acceleration.
Contract 197, contact Lang Radar 135.65, bye bye.
135.65, contract 197, bye. So let's see, Eecs speed 281. Lang radar low, contract 197, level 128, climb 140, inbound PODIP.
Contract 197, Lang radar low, proceed direct to Absolute, climb set level 210.
Clear to Absolute, climb level 210, contract 197. Set, 210 checked. Okay, let's place this quickly as well. 181. And we want to go direct to Abzul.
Charlie arrival, when ready,
Execute.
What's the Charlie arrival and when it sent level 100 blue jet?
Let's figure 1004 Lang radar will identify climb set level 210. Charlie Romeo report ready for set.
We're ready now to Charlie Romeo.
Charlie Romeo, what's our defense side level
260 to Charlie Romeo.
Okay, a lot of things just happened, so let's just quickly finish the 10 checks here. We are monitoring 1 to 1.5, and that's the 10 checks completed.
Papa 3, Mike, Lima 2 holding point 2 left, 2 Mike, Bravo.
So climb thrust should be 97%. We've got 3 to go.
Contract 197, climb set level 230.
Contract 107, climb level 230. Set, 230 checked, 1, 2, and 3 times. And we are monitoring 1 to 1.5.
Radar, good day, speedbird 141, flight level 220, directing me fully.
Speedbird 141, now radar, sorry to say, I'm not responsible for sponsor unit of 122.8.
Copy 122.8, 141.
$2,000 to go. And 1 to go.
climb to level 230. During 580, contact turn approach, frequency 135.35, ciao.
Cologne approach, 135 to 35, thank you. 0.5
This is 7 Mike Bravo, line up runway 23 left, report ready for departure.
Line up to 3 left and we are ready for departure, so 27 Mike Bravo.
This is 7 Mike Bravo, roger, then keep it rolling. Wind 020, 5 knots, runway 23 left, clear for takeoff.
23 left, clear takeoff, 27 Mike Bravo.
So here we are, target cruise speed 0.62.
Einmal da, guten Abend, Lufthansa 1 Charlie, Klasse 240.
So 12 Charlie, lang radar, hello, guten Abend. Wir sind Copac 2 Charlie arrival. When ready, descend to reach Copac at flight level 100.
Okay, Copac to Charlie arrival, and when ready, descend to reach Copac at flight level 200, Lufthansa 1 Charlie.
So let's just, for the fun of it, keep hand flying for as long as we can. If the workload is not increasing too much due to air traffic control or approach preparation, let's just keep this thing flying manually. Below flight level 245 you are allowed to fly by hand, so this is basically one of those perfect flights where you can actually do it and where you don't need the autopilot.
100 at Copac, sorry, Lufthansa 1 Charlie.
Guten Abend, Contract 78, climbing to flight level 110 to flight level 140. Contract 78, lang radar identified, climb flight level 210. Climbing flight level 210, contract 78. One 178, contact current approach, 135 to 35, ciao.
135, C5, 178, tschüss.
So while we are sitting around here,
Climb level 200, Sujet, 7
oh, someone's just saying he likes my videos on the PM. Contract 197, 128.750, ciao. Dem Radar, guten Abend, Contract 197, flight level 230, inbound up Seoul.
Contract 197, how do I identify? Direct to Verdi.
Direct Verdi, Contract 197. Right, that's Verdi. LNAV available, well, but we aren't gonna use it. So, Leipzig, expect radar vectors for dependent ILS approach runway 26 left and right. Parking positions apron 1, expect 26 right. Okay, let's quickly see where are actually gonna park. Not that familiar with Leipzig. So we're gonna have the Kojak 1 Victor arrival. Okay, we're parking apron 4, so it's probably gonna be 26 left for us.
Leipzig Air 3016, passing flight level 345, climbing flight level 380.
Leipzig Air 3016, how to identify time, level 380.
Climb flight level 380, Leipzig Air 3016.
Raman radar, Foxtrot Oscar Uniform Rebel Sierra, flight level 270, inbound Delta Hotel Echo.
Foxtrot Oscar Uniform Rebel Sierra, bonjour, you are out of my head, money to Unicorn 1, say goodbye.
Thank you, Unicorn 1, 2, 3, Mike, goodbye.
Leipzig Air 1004, April and more in radar contact.
Okay, someone in the comments is saying Primary is parking apron 2. Alright, so all the way back there. Thank you very much for that. So that's what we're gonna request then. So, thank you very much, cameraman Gonzalo, for that. It's always very nice to get some real-life input. Alright, so let's do some quick approach preparation here. So, we have 250 below 100, forecast pages filled in, fixed rings, we'll take runway 26 left on those. The weather was pretty good, so it's gonna be 10 and 4 miles.
Alright, 3288, you're out of my head, wait, Unicorn, bye-bye.
Right, for the arrival it's from Kojak, Delta Papa 420, 421, 422, 423, 424, 425, 426, 27, 28, 29, and then it's JDAT on radar vectors. We have the ILS approach for runway 26 left, chart 11, there's 3, 13th November 2020, it's 110.3, active on both sides, course is 263. Elevation 470 versus 450. MSA 2700 and the minimum 670. The approach starts at Tarkor, 3000 feet mandatory.
Contract 197 when ready, descent level 190, reach at Verdi.
Contract 197 when ready, descent level 190, level Verdi. Okay, set. And 190 checked. Oh. Alright, so where do we stop? Exactly, Tarkor 3000, 3 degree glide, 3.5 miles, we'll check 1350, and For the missed approach, then straight at 1.80 Lima Lima Delta. We're going to put that on the nav2 radio, 1215. I should just stabilize that aircraft real quick, then we can continue with the briefing. So this looks better. And then we're going to turn left on radio 192 inbound Golf. Sorry, outbound Golf Oscar Tango 15.25. That's going to be on my radio then. 15.25, okay. Let's check. The FMC goes straight at 900, then yeah, 090 uniform, that gotta be that point over here, and then left. And inbound to Jogger. Let's have a quick look on that on the display over here. Yeah, that looks like it is on the chart. Okay. So, if we have to go around, Toga, go around, flap 15, set go around thrust, trace landing over the positive rate, 400 feet. We're going to steer the airplane manually, flaps 5, 1 up, and 126.075, contract 197, choose.
Flight 1004, you can fly level 190. Not to Papa Track Caddy.
That's a little bit too motivated in the descent.
Go ahead. Kannst du dich besser schleifen oder wie schaut's aus? 2500 ist jetzt nicht so kostbar. Okay, nee, du hast mir nichts gesagt, aber gerne kleid ich auch mit 2,5. Ja, am besten mit dem, was du von der Performance am besten hast. Das ist eigentlich das Normale, was du tust. Okay, alles klar, ich kleid mit 3000. Ja, das sieht doch ganz gut aus. Du hast 2,06, dann 4000 genannt, was du denn tun würdest?
Then 4001 to 0.
Then cargo 498 and flight level 80.
München, hello, contract 197, passing 206, descending 190, inbound Verdi, information Quebec.
Direct near 24.
Hey firm, contract 197, 201, descending 190, inbound Verdi, info Quebec.
Contract 197, when identified, Quebec right,
Expect 26 left, descent level 160, contract 197. Set, 160 check.
575, 5.
And KLM 998 5 and flight level 8 That's level 80 going in. With 406 director 1208
What 08 is some 246 charge?
Yeah, 1004 when identified information to the lake, expect 185 and that's flight level 170.
Let's slow the descent down a bit. 1,000 foot a minute should do.
Departure, you're trying 6681.
Still quite a way out.
190, good thing.
Okay, so yeah, for the go around. Yeah, where's that one coming from? Minus 99 is sending now, climbing up. I don't know. Contact 197 to writing 190. Just confirm the heading again.
Heading is 110.
Heading 110, contract 197, thank you.
150, 575 Shuttle. Target 198, 470 single mic identified, flight level 190.
Flight level 190, you return to 7 single mic.
And 7004, flight thing 110, 55
Okay, finish off the briefing. For the landing, we are going to come in on 26 left. We've got the full runway available, so not a lot to do. Not a lot of braking needed. We'll use idle reverse, auto brakes too, but nonetheless, we still have the minimum runway occupancy procedures. So let's have a look real quick. Sierra 4, Sierra 3, both of them are quite far down the runway, so not a lot to worry about here. Let's do some calculation real quick. So Leipzig, 26 left, 2.5, dry. Let's quickly look here again. So 340 at 9. Contact 197, roger. Okay, so left downwind, fine. Flips 30, okay, this set we're gonna burn 500 kilos. Makes the landing weight 53.1. Let's level off here. Contract 197 is central 100. Set, 100 checked. Time to go. 1020, and here we had 53100. Calculate. So auto brake 3 is 2000 meters. Yeah, we're gonna take Sierra 3, so auto brakes 2, idle reverse. That's giving us 18 minutes of brake cooling. That's more than sufficient for the turnaround. Alright. And we really don't want to descend too quick. Contract 107, speed 250 knots. Okay, so flaps 30, auto brakes 2. Any questions on the briefing? Good. Let's quickly build ourselves something here. Contract 197, left heading 090. Oh shit, heading was 090, not the LNAV profile. Yeah, that's what you get. So 090, that's it.
Yes, we are cargo. Take 01. Left out, take 01. Project with radar or identified by the assistant side of the Airlines.
Then we have to put the 9
Der 6 Euro Meeting wird hier noch was zu das vorbei. Cargo aircraft is expected to be left on board.
Radar, guten Abend, okay, wir sind die Flugpreis. Parking auf dem Seiten, Seite der Besetzung.
Get up 85, radar at all identified. And we have to find them 80.
Line 80, Skyline 85.
And the project is looking at other room.
Contract 738, 250 and traffic 1901.
Contract 78, radar at all identified. Stand flight level 110 and information back.
Descending flight level 110 and we get information to back. Contract 78.
Yeah, Montego is checked.
And the 8 kilo unit is radar at all identified. Turn left heading 260.
Left heading 260.
And turn heading 360 heading down.
Yes,
Thank you, Lufthansa 8 kilo unit and flight level 110.
also the same for
And Chair 1004 is on flight level 100. Und dann ist Tango Combat 5
Monkey radar vertical English 194 inbound per defect level 1 minor 0.
Lufthansa 194 with radar identified. Information Quebec, descent flight level 100.
Information Quebec descent 100 glacier 100.
And Contract 78 with Project 1 Victor arrival.
Yes, Project 1 Victor arrival, contract 70.
And Contract 197 and left heading 080.
Contract 117, left heading 080.
6017 descent flight level 80.
level 80, I think,
Climb 85 and flight level 190.
Cabin flight level 190, Cologne 85.
And the 8 kilo unit and flight level 060.
Right heading 060.
Project and flight level 270.
Level 270.
Contract 197 descent flight level 80.
Contract 197, descent flight level 80.
And station confirmed Eurotransport 498 of Polo. Just cargo post, right? Yeah, 498, confirmed, left heading from 80, stand altitude 5000 feet. Kilo Juliet, heading 52 left. Direction 1128, radar identified. Stop climb flight level 70. Level 120. Negative flight level 70, 070. Under 8, Kilo Juliet, advise to 0900. Right heading 0900. Under 194, Victor, check 1 Victor, arrival.
Check project 1 Victor, arrival, stage 1.
Contact 197, altitude 5000 feet, finish 1020.
Contract 197 is at 5,000 feet, zone 1020, speed 220.
Good evening, Mountain, Neptune.
Okay, set. 5,000 checked. Set altimeter 1020. Passing 84, descending 5,000. No flag, stand by altimeter set.
Information protect current
Project 1 Victor, arrival.
Project 1 Victor,
Aspect 017, and that's the link to the 8.
That's 080, aspect 0.
And then 2 cover, 65, 0, and that's the Contact 197, and that's the link to the 50.
Contact 197, left heading 050.
That's the 1004, and that's the link to the 5. Under 108 Kilo Juliet, from a right 360. Just to a right 360, always right 115.
Okay, let's do a first check. 120850, contract 197. Direct hello, contract 197.
197 director, hello, turn left heading 360.
Left heading 360, contract 197. Alright, let's do the first check real quick. Frequencies 110.3, rings 26 left, 10-4, items, ILS left, standby instruments are set and the courses 263.
Hello, turn right heading 110.
Approach checklist, altimeters and instruments, cross checked, approach aids, checked and set. Approach checks
170
complete.
altitude 3000 feet.
Contract 197 is at altitude 3000 feet. 3000 is in. A little bit of speed brake here to get this thing down. And yeah, while we were passing 10,000, of course we missed the 10 checks. As we're flying single pilot, by hand is not always that easy. Okay, let's do the 10 checks. The fuel is balanced.
200 knots or greater, turn left heading 290, clear the left 26 left.
Contract 197, speed 290 or more, left 290, clear LS 26 left.
Just confirm speed of 200 or greater.
200 or greater, even better. Okay, so, fuel balanced, 4 pumps, lights on, bank 25, air compress, 260 centi set, fast modes on, recall checked, 1215, deselected, 10 checks complete as well now. So, flaps 1.
Server 004, Director, hallo, descent 4000 feet, für H von 020. Uptake 017, turn
Flaps
right
5.
heading 230, clear the left to 6 left.
230, clear the left, runway 26 left, uptake 01.
We have localizer capture.
Contract 197, speed 170 knots or greater to 5 miles landing.
170 greater till 5 miles, contract 197. Oh, the speed brake is stowed. The DME of the ILS is unfortunately a little bit of a problem since software update 9. So this shows 11 miles, but we can see we're inside the 10-mile ring. I'd say this is about 2 miles off.
Contract 197, contact tower 121, decimal 1, schönen Abend.
121, decimal 1, contract 197, tschüss.
Leipziger 1004, turn left heading 360.
Traffic.
Where is he again?
Using 5229er, contact München radar 126, decimal 075. 126,
I don't even want to know.
Using 5229er, danke, ciao.
Leipzig Tower low, contract 197, ILS 26 left.
Contract 197, Leipzig Tower, got 1 departure prior to arrival.
Roger.
Here for Trans 86, Mike, line up runway 26 left.
Line up runway 26 left.
So, missed approach altitude 5,000 feet.
In your Trans 86,
Set.
Mike, wind, speed for the release 9 knots, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
26 left, clear for takeoff.
Ryanair 9, dispatch. Contract 197, expect late landing clearance.
Roger. Yeah, he's just entering the runway. Gear down, flap 15. Right, start switches, continuous, recall, checked, speed brake, hand green light, landing gear down, 3 green, auto brakes, 2 set. Flaps 30, speed checked. Checked. Flaps 30. 30, green light. And holding at the landing light.
987, wind 347 knots, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff, 997.
Contract 197, wind 347 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land, proceeding traffic plus Air 1.
Contract 197, runway 26 left, clear to land. 500, continue. And the landing lights are on.
Aztec 017, Leipzig Tower, clear Scott. German cargo, Deutsche Lufthansa cargo 747.
Check.
Behind the landing contract should Boeing 737, line up runway 26 left and right behind.
Behind arriving.
Continue.
Left and right behind. Lufthansa cargo 747.
Euro Trans 86, my contact Bremen radar 1, München radar 126, that's 075.
50,
30, 20, 10.
Ryanair 987, contact München radar 126, that's 075.
Speed pick up, thrust as normal. Idle reverse. Yeah, let's take this exit. We're so close to it. Manual brakes, auto brake disarm,
Aztec
60
017,
knots.
expect late landing clearance.
So this is the moment you should say something now if you're going left or right, because otherwise we can't vacate the runway.
Contract 197, contact ground 121.8.
And he doesn't. 121.8, contract 197.
Lufthansa cargo 747, wind 347 knots, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
Niveau 1, Fokker Handhaus.
Ryan 2 Yankee November, just confirm NEFCO 1 November.
Let's go 1 November, and taxiing.
Ground low, contract 197 vacated.
British Cargo 197, hello, taxi via Sierra 4 Victor, stand 403.
Oh, that's not us. Just to confirm, it's contract 197.
Oh, sorry, contract 197, Sierra 4 and Victor, stand 403.
Can we get something on apron 2, as that's where we're parking in real life?
I firm the back. Contract 197, right on Tango, stand 205.
Tango stand 205, contract 197. Thanks, see you later.
FedEx 14 request, another pushback.
Okay.
FedEx 14, pushback approved.
Push through, FedEx 14.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, ground hello, you cut off there.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, information Quebec, clearance to Cologne.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, schönen guten Tag, Info Romeo.
Okay, we've got our 3 minutes. Number 2 shutdown.
Climb via SID flight level 70 and squawk 1000.
Sit out of 4 November, via SID level 70, squawk 1000, Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, read back correct.
Oh, nice, the Antonov 225. Such a lovely aircraft.
A2 Yankee November, pushback approved, face east.
And such a pity that it no longer exists.
Ryanair 294, contact tower 121, decimal 1.
I've just gotta take a screenshot here.
Olympic 77 Romeo, contact tower 121, decimal 1. Condor 28 Golf, contact tower 121, decimal 1.
Alright. Okay, stand 205 is pretty much halfway the second building.
Just taxi 017, hello, we just crossed the holding point to fully vacate and taxi Tango Victor stand 201.
Tango Victor to stand 201. Can confirm that I should turn to the right at the 017?
AFM, turn to the right and vacate the runway, please.
Okay, vacating runway at the 017.
FedEx 14, request X.
Station calling again.
FedEx 14, request X.
FedEx 14, taxi holding point runway 26 left via Victor Sierra 9.
Only point 26 left via still Sierra 9.
FedEx 14 actually might get please Sierra 5 Tango Sierra 9 because there's an aircraft in the middle of Victor.
Sierra 5 Tango Sierra 9.
Okay.
25 left, 25.
Looks 118 November, hello, info Romeo, correct. Start of approved, cleared Amsterdam Schiphol, or type 40, flights en route. Climb via slip flight
2 blue, 1 red.
0 and squawk 2161.
Skip all ducks for Sierra, 56 left of Motable 70, squawk 2161,
Looks 118 November, read my correct.
Alright, so this is the new Amazon terminal. Thank you very much, cameraman Gonzalo. That's I really have no idea about Leipzig Airport, but it's so good to have people there who are telling us what's going on. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so Shutdown checklist. Transit. Electrical is on the APU. Fasten belts. Off. Propede. Auto. Any eyes. Off. Voice recorder. Again, switch not installed. Air compacts. Auto. Engine bleeds on. Upper bleed off. Exterior lights. We are below 20. Set. Start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps up and light, parking brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CB in, cockpit door unlocked, and that's the transit shutdown checks complete.
I'm sorry, 04 and Victor stand 426.
04, Victor and 426. Left 0, 4 on the top left, so that's the car right there.
I'm sorry, Leipzig 1004, yeah, taxi Victor and stand 424. German Cargo 498, you can follow the 73 at, in front of you.
Copy, following the 73.
Alright, so here we are.
Ryanair 83 Yankee November, taxi
Now it's time to get those boxes off the airplane, as we are running pretty late already, and especially in cargo business, that's not good. So, return flight, we'll do it from the first officer's seat.
Holding point 26 right.
Let's quickly get rid of ATC as well. So we're going to do the return flight from the first officer's seat. And let's get right into it. So let's have a quick look at the weather, just to be on the safe side here. Cuff okay, cuff okay, cuff okay, few clouds, okay, that's all, no problem. We're gonna take standard fuel. So that's 5.2. So you can start unloading, you can start unloading. Alright guys, we'll do the Q&A session at the end of the live stream today, because we are just running a little bit tight on schedule and I don't want to miss the inbound rush of the event, okay? So if you have questions, just write them down somewhere, and by the time that we'll reach Cologne, I'm going to answer those, okay? Okay, we're coming in from Kopak, so let's make it runway 24 then. That's a lot easier. So, what is Vatsam doing here? Unable to lock in. Okay, we'll try that again. Let's actually get some light on here as well. Because it is slowly but steadily getting dark. So, fueling is finished, that's very good. Okay, let's see. Well, that's a pretty easy departure. Straight ahead. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Okay. So, let's see how the unloading is going here. Still in progress. Yeah, it's mostly the main deck that's gonna take the vast amount of time here. So I'd say we're probably gonna be limited by the loading time. But anyway, that's fine. Maybe we can get to answer some questions while we are still sitting here waiting for the last boxes to be loaded. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, it's level 70. Okay, so threats for the departure. Well, there's lots of heavy traffic here today. So, wake turbulence separation is something we'll keep an eye on. Make sure that air traffic control is not clearing us into the wakes of another aircraft, especially watching the time. Okay, we're gonna do that. And apart from this, I don't see any threats for this departure, so let's do a route check. Okay, from Echo Delta Delta Papa, Echo Delta Delta Kilo, and we're the Alpha Bravo Romeo 198. The routing is via Ortak, Quebec 230 Warburg, Papa 12 Isaru, Tango 858 Kopak, and the ground distance is 264 with 200. That's quite a difference. Let's go through this real quick. Actually, which arrival did they plan? Nah, Kopak 1 November, okay. Then we know where the difference comes from. Alright, that's fine. Okay, so, Then time UTC 1852, altimeter 1020, give me 440. The MFRA will put a little higher, like 1700-ish. Here we are, MFRA 1700, the flight directors are on, minus master and standby instruments set. It's going to be a right-sea takeoff from a 26 left, flaps 5, NADP2 with a backup at 1500. We have just a standard yield, it's straight ahead, going to 25 miles, and the MSA in this sector, 2,700, we're climbing 3,000 feet. Right, we did the emergency briefing for the taxi. It's going to be fairly standard. Push back to the left-hand side, then we go out the same way we came in. So let's see where that is. Here we are, probably via Tango, and we'll take figures for an intersection Sierra 7 or Sierra 8 if we have that, so that we don't have to taxi all the way to the full length. Departure, ORTAC for November, is on a chart over here. That's 10-3 Tango 1, effective 30th of January. Speed max 250, below flight level 100. That's in. Contact Munich radar when advised by the tower. Transition altitude 5000 versus 5001. Let's see, initial climb clearance flight level 70. That's set twice. And for the routing, ORTAC for Sierra climb runway track 10 DME. Then 263 track via waypoint 542, 524 to 525, and then to ORTAC. Let's see if we have an RNAV version of that as well, because I think the Desan point is the 10 DME point. But let's see. Here's the RNAV chart. Yeah, it's Desan above 3000, and then 424, 425. And ORTAC. Alright, that's pretty much it. Any questions? Perfect. Then how much do we want to take? Let's see what SimToolkit is saying. Yeah, we can finish the last flight. Let's start the new one. Load sheet, pop out, 16.3 tons of cargo. Okay, so that's quite a lot. Let's put 13 in the main deck. Oh, we can only put 12.5. Okay, then start loading on the main deck. Then, we still have our inbound cargo here. Okay. So we're gonna put 2000 back here, and we'll also start loading 2000 in the front then. They should be around about set. Okay. So, transit before start checklist, please. That's gear pins. 1, 2, 3 removed. Oxygen, test 100%. Yaw damper on. Fuel. So 5,105 required. We have 5,190 on board. With 4 pumps on. Fasten belts. Yeah, we can put those on. Window heat on, air cannon press, PAX auto, bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector, auto, instruments cross-checked, auto brakes, RTO, speed brake, down detent, parking brake, set, step trim cutout switches, normal, radius, radar and transponder, set standby, rudder and aileron trims, 3 and 0, takeoff briefing, complete, PA, we're most certainly not going to do one. Okay, then holding at FMC CDU. Let's use the time to get our IFR clearance. So it's going to be a 1 to 1.8.
The cargo 8275.
Information of Romeo.
18 Romeo Kilo, thank you. Contact tower 1 to 1, decimal 1.
1 to 1, decimal 1, cargo is 1 at Romeo Kilo. Alright.
Leipzig Ground, hello, contract 198, information, what did I just say, Quebec, something like, no, Romeo, requesting clearance to Cologne.
Contract 198, number 1 for clearance, calling back, break, Lufthansa 380, give way to the Lufthansa company, MD-11 taxiing out of Sierra 4 to Victor, then follow him to stand, 430.
After giving way to company cargo from the left, and then as clear to Lufthansa 380 to continue.
Okay, and 2,000 kilos going in the front hold. Let's go.
After the 455, you're number 2 for clearance, call you back in 1 minute. Break, contract 198, are you ready?
Contract 198, go ahead.
Thank you, contract 198, and for Romeo, start up proof declared destination, Köln, Bonn, Autark for Sierra, flight plan route, climb via SID, flight level 70, and squawk 1000.
Contract 198 is clear to Cologne, Bonn via the Autark for Sierra departure flight plan route, climb via SID 4000, flight level 70, squawk 1000.
Callum, Christian, contract 198, read back correct.
Okay, so flight level 70, Autark for Sierra, flight and squawk 1000. Alright.
German Cargo 912, I've got an inbound, it's stand 408, that's on the other side. Once he's into the stand, pushback approved.
Roger, what traffic is it?
Sorry, it's the Lufthansa Cargo MD-11.
Roger, traffic inside, and pushback approved. It's now German Cargo 912.
Thank you very much.
Leipzig Ground, guten Abend, Papa Delta Lima at Alpha 5.
Victor Delta Papa Sierra Lima, Leipzig Ground, schönen guten, Taxi via Charlie Echo 7, hold shot November.
Taxi Charlie Echo 7, hold shot November, Victor Lima.
The Lufthansa 455 ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Lufthansa 455.
Lufthansa 455, information Romeo, startup approved, cleared Amsterdam Schiphol, Outland 5 November, flight plan route, climb via SID, flight level 70, squawk 1000.
So, now it's down to waiting.
Lufthansa 455, initial climb to flight level 70, right, rest of feedback correct. You're wings 5 Echo Foxtrot, and schönen guten Tag, information Romeo correct, setup approved, declared München, Golat 1 Sierra, crashing Golat 1 November, flight plan route, climb via SID, flight level 70, squawk 1000.
SID is München via Golat 1 November departure route, and should climb via SID, flight level 70, for departure 07 Foxtrot.
You're wings 5 Echo Foxtrot, read back correct.
FPK 1003, request taxi.
Leipzig 1003, once the column in front of you is moving, follow him to holding point runway 26 right.
Follow the KLM in front to holding point 26 right.
Ground within Romeo, request
Column 6 to Romeo, squawk 1000, taxi holding point 26 right via November, Echo 8, Charlie, Alpha 8.
Squawk 1000 and taxi, holding point runway 26 right via November, Echo 8, Charlie, and Alpha 8, stay on to
So the main deck loading is finished.
To stand 409 straight ahead. Actually,
Where the...
Alpha, sorry, taxi
Oops.
to stand 503 via Victor.
Yeah, that was a strobe light still on. Interesting, could have sworn that they've been off when I read the checklist. Well, there are certain things that I'm not going to question. This is one of them.
Charlie Echo 7 on hold shot November.
Taxi Charlie Echo 7 on short November, you're transforming.
Right, so while we're waiting here, I thought about some future content for the channel, and actually I had some few people asking me if I could fly some other aircraft, so I thought about maybe the flight somewhere Cessna 414 or the BAE 146. Or even when it's finally released, the Phoenix A320. What do you guys think? Should I stay on the 737 and keep doing what I'm doing now? Or should I also take some other aircraft into consideration to feature on this channel?
Giant 2-4 Mike Hotel.
I'm sorry, Giant 2-4 Mike Hotel, pushback approved. Yes, discussed, pushback, long pushback approved.
As discussed, long pushback approved, Giant 2-4 Mike Hotel.
Alpaca 57 Echo.
Alpaca 57 Echo.
Wonderful, Alpaca 57 Echo, fully vacate the runway, please taxi stand 208 via Tango Victor.
Vacating now 208 via Tango Victor,
Victor Sierra Lima, there are 2 outbounds on November. I call you back about 1 minute and then you can expect taxi to the GAT via November.
Roger.
Good evening, Connie 43 Bravo, we're a Boeing 763 on stand 412 with information Romeo. Request our flight departure cruise to Cologne, please.
Connie 43 Bravo, hello, call you back shortly. Number 1 for clearance.
To that, Connie 43 Bravo.
Cargo 118 November, Budioni.
Cargo 118 November, yeah, once the Giant 74 is clear, pushback approved, face north.
So how's the loading going? Are we getting there? Eventually? Yeah.
Not
a lot more to go. We'll fire up the APU and then we'll be out of here in a few moments.
Taxi stand 451, sorry.
Victor Sierra Lima, give way to the to KLM and to Leipzig at 737-2737, passing left to right, and then taxi via November to the GA.
Yeah, Moktachi, actually, comparison between the Phoenix and this PMDG is something that I'm very likely to do once it's released. I mean, it's been a while since I've flown an Airbus in a simulator, especially now with the PMDG beta and MSFS and everything. But I would say that, yeah, by the time that we actually have our hands on the Phoenix, then I'm definitely going to do a comparison to the PMDG and see what it's going to be like.
The 73 just coming out of Victor, I don't know what he's doing.
Give way to the 737 in front of me, FedEx 49 Tango.
Yeah, he's probably turning left to right way, so yeah.
Alright, they're done with the loading, finally. Let's see, 51.5 versus 54.5, giving me 56.8. Alright, let's see, performance. Reset current aircraft. We are in Leipzig, runway 26 left. Ah, sorry, that's the en route performance. Here we go. Now we're in Leipzig on 26 left. We said we wanted to take... Yeah, Sierra 5 is good, that should give us plenty of performance. And hopefully quite a reduction in taxi time. So let's see, they say it's 340 at 6, we're going to use those values here now. Oops. 340 at 6, the temperature is 17 on 1020. Takeoff weight 56,800. Calculate 22k, 42 degrees. Okay.
Trans 116, taxi holding point 26 left via the Hotel 7.
Takeoff run available 1895, so that's really not quite much, but that should be fine. Flaps 5, 5.9 units, and the speeds we'll take from the FMC for the reasons already explained a couple of times. So 5.9, and that's 131 in the V2. Okay.
FedEx 1728, low.
So, that's that. We're really hoping that the 700 is soon going to come to virtual performance tool, but I don't really know when yet.
Number 2 for clearance, standby.
Okay, then.
Confirm continue taxi.
FedEx 49 Tango, sorry.
Let's get a pushback truck.
Problem 49 Tango.
FedEx 49 Tango, actually make it stand 410. There's a couple of aircrafts around to stand, so that's easier.
410, wenn ich den finde. FedEx 49 Tango.
It's next into right, blue line.
Cockpit to ground.
Okay.
This is ground. Stand by.
First, Connie 43 Bravo.
So let's go ahead with the checklist.
Are you ready?
FMC CDU.
Connie 43 Bravo, go ahead.
I'm sorry for the long wait. Information: Sierra is current startup approved to clear Cologne or Type 4 Sierra.
Set M1IS box.
Climb to via SIP flight level 70 and.
We have automatic reduce 22K 252631 set. Step trim 5.9 set. Performance weight balance, sign send, phones off, EFB airplane stowed, flight attendant's cockpit door locked, doors closed, passengers, boxes are stowed.
And we have information Sierra on board.
Complete.
24
Okay,
Bravo, thank you very
sir.
much
The
for your
bypass
correct.
pin is installed.
Calendar
All
6
doors and
Rami
hatches
Tower
closed and all ground
125 9
equipment is
at 5.
removed. Standing by for pushback.
Contract 198, stand 205, request push and start.
FedEx 5042 Tower, hello, taxi.
Yeah, that's
left
not
of
us.
Tango, hold shot Sierra 5.
Tango shot Sierra 5, thank you for this.
Chicago 198, pushback approved. Correction contract now 198, pushback approved.
Contract 198, pushback approved. Right, below the line, air complex off, anti-collision on, parking brakes, set transponder, alt off, checks complete.
First, join 24 Mike Hotel, follow the
Cockpit to
cargo
ground.
4 to holding point 26.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay,
Delta Kilo
cleared
Lima
for
left
push
into
start.
November, hold for
Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
You will start in the
Tower
sequence.
121.1, bye.
Tower 121, German Cargo 912.
Okay, here we go.
Trans 116.
Yeah, we do again, holding short Tango.
Trans 116, taxi right into Eurotrans 116, taxi, give way to guys stand by shortly, I call you back, break, FedEx 5042, taxi right into Victor, via Sierra 5 and stand 423.
Victor Sierra 5, 240, thank you.
Eurotrans 116, taxi right into Tango, hold shot Sierra 5.
Right Tango short Sierra 5, Eurotrans 116.
118 November, Tower 121, bye-bye.
125 and 5, is that correct?
FedEx 6, Callum,
Right, beyond the red line, starting engine number 2.
Carglass 118 November, Tower 121.
Just a quick thing for those people asking questions at the moment. I'm going to answer them after we've landed in Cologne, okay?
Carglass 118 November, Tower 1211.
And 2, all press, and 1.
Giant 4 to Mike, question 2
But that's just the style of the channel. I'm focusing on the flying part of things, and then answering questions when there is time. I'm probably going to do another live stream tomorrow with a longer flight, where there will be more time to answer questions en route.
Delta Kilo Lima, taxi holding point Alpha 6, runway 26 right via Echo 7.
Echo 7 and Alpha 6, right,
FedEx 1728 ready? FedEx 1728, thank you very much. Wind question information, Sierra, startup approved, you cleared Cologne, Ortag for Sierra, flight plan route, climb via SIT level 70.
Okay, start engine 1.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake
And
set.
2, all pressure,
Ground. You may
and 1.
disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding point runway 26
Holding
right
position
via
waiting for the
November,
visual.
Echo 8,
Thank you and
Charlie,
goodbye.
Alpha 8. Okay, first of all, inbound aircraft, please call in.
Ryanair 11 with you, Ivan 1.
Danke, Ryanair 11, hello, taxis, right Charlie and Whiskey 1, hold shot November.
Right Charlie, Whiskey 1, holding short November, Ryanair 11.
Walker 37874.
Walker 378, schönen guten Tag, Taxi Stand 435 via Victor.
435 via Victor, Walker 378.
Airtrans 116 Stand
Set a cat out,
412 via
monitor
Sierra
1.
5.
Engine 1 stable.
The 5 Mike Tango Tower, question ground hello, taxi Charlie, Whiskey 1 hold short November.
Taxi Charlie, Whiskey 1 hold short November.
Flight controls. Full up, full down, neutral, left, right, neutral, rudder's left, right, neutral, after start checklist. Sorry, before taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat on, NEIs off, air conditioning, pack starter bleeds on, isolation valve, order, flaps, 5 required, fast selected, green light, step trim, 6 units, required set, start leave idle detent, flight controls checked, recall checked, checks complete.
Expect 2 minutes, contract 551.
Contract 198, request taxi, able Sierra 5.
Contract 198, that's wonderful, thank you. Taxi to holding point runway 26 left via Tango Sierra 5.
Taxi holding point 26 left, Tango Sierra 5, contract 198. Okay, so that's the taxi is briefed straight at Sierra 5 intersection, halfway down the runway. Config, checked.
FedEx 1728, pushback approved, face north. Contract 198 on request by tower, taxi holding point Sierra 6.
Sierra 6, contract 198.
Good evening, Jim, Target 195 with you, we're looking for stand 48.
So, Sierra 6, let's just check real quick how far we're going there.
Charlie, hold short, echo 7.
So that's the high-speed intersection along 2/3 down the DHL apron. Okay, we can do that.
It is, yeah. Aircraft minus 576, hello, no flight can receive so far. Break, contact 551, are you ready?
Ready, 551.
Contact 551, information, Sierra setup approved, clear destination, East Midlands, Outland 5, question Outland 4, Echo departure, runway 26 left, climb, sorry, it's Outland 5 Sierra departure, runway 26 left, climb via sit level 70 and squawk 2002.
Clear 3 Midlands via runway 26, Outland 5 Sierra, Sierra 7, climb to flight level 70 and squawk 2002.
Okay, before takeoff checklist, down to the line. Config, check, flaps, 5 green light, step trim, 5.9, set. Takeoff briefing. It's going to be right to takeoff 26 left, flaps 5, NDP 2. We'll buck up at 1500. The sit taking us straight out with a slight right turn, climbing level 70, contact departure when advised by the tower. Yo, sit straight at 25 miles to pick up the hold. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Station calling for push, constant only. 5 Foxtrot, push approved, face east. Erschalten 7596, ich sehe, du hast einen Flugplan, I'll call you back.
Yeah, Antonov 225 is just such a beautiful airplane. Really a pity that it doesn't exist anymore.
24-3 Bravo, pushback approved. Approved, 4-3 Bravo. Contract 198, hold position.
Contract 198, hold position. So why is that?
198, you can continue taxi, the aircraft didn't locate us.
Contract 198, continue taxi. Lovely.
So cargo 195, taxi Echo 8, holding point Hotel 8.
Echo 8, holding point Hotel 8,
Lufthansa 455, taxi Echo 7, Charlie Alpha 8.
High ground, good evening.
So now we go accelerating while we're still slightly going uphill. That's a pain in the 737. In real life just as well as it is in the simulator.
Right angle holding Sierra 1, Tom 246.
Ryanair 1-1, taxi stand 1, aircraft. Ryanair 1-1, taxi stand 138 via November, left aircraft pushing out at 124 in sequence behind me.
Roger, stand 138 via November and we wait for the pushing aircraft in 124 Ryanair 1-1.
Lufthansa 5 Mike Tango, taxi gate 134 behind the Ryanair.
Taxi 134.
Leipzig 592, taxi holding point 26 left via Victor, Sierra 9. Contact 198, contact per Leipzig Tower 121.1, cheers.
121.1, contact 198, cheers.
That's it.
Leipzig Tiger 9, contract 198, taxiing Sierra 6, ready for departure.
Contact 198, Leipzig Tower, clear cut. Giant 24 Mike Hotel, wind 3 for the 6 knots, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
Left take a 26 left, Chaco, Margaret.
Okay, this quality 1, 0 whiskey. Quality 10 whiskey, contact ground 121.8. 18, quality 10 whiskey, ciao.
Right, this would have been Sierra 5. We'll go a little bit further.
The 455 Leipzig Tower, clear cut. Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima 12 information, Eurowings A320, 2 miles final report traffic in 5.
Delta Lima traffic.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima behind mentioned traffic, line up runway 26 right and wait behind.
Delta Alpha Lima behind line traffic, line up 26 right.
KLM 09, contact ground 121.8.
Ground 118, killing from manifest. Eurowings 2 to Whiskey, are we clear to land or not?
Eurowings 2 Hotel Whiskey, wind 3 for the 6 knots, runway 26 right, clear to land.
Okay, thank you. Clear to land, runway 26 right, Eurowings 2 to Whiskey. Down, okay, hello again, Jim, contact 195.
Next left, interesting, there's no line drawn, that's actually turning into Sierra 6. Well,
Giant 2 for Mike Hotel, contact mention radar 126 at 075.
Bream radar 126.075, bye-bye.
German Cargo 195, good evening. German Cargo 195, cross runway 26 left and hold short Tango, contact ground 121.8.
Cross 26 left and then back to ground 118. I'll go 1 on.
Johnny 772, flash. Connie 772, Leipzig Tower, great cut. Good evening, Tom Jet 2426, holding Sierra 1. Tom Jet 2426, Leipzig Tower, great cut. FedEx 172, Leipzig Tower, good evening. Connie 772, wind 2 for the 6 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
So, one more guy inbound there.
Evening,
Let's hope that it's going to be our turn after him.
Holding short at 09, ready for departure in sequence.
Connie 43 Bravo, Leipzig Tower, great cut. Lufthansa 2 Lima Papa, Leipzig Tower, great cut. Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, wind 3 for 036 knots, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
Alpha Charlie Lima 26 right.
So, there he is coming.
Leipzig Air 5902, Leipzig Tower, grid cut. Eurowings 2, Hotel Whiskey, contact ground 121.8.
Ground 121.8, aber ich nur
Lufthansa 2 Lima Papa, wind 3436 knots, runway 26 right, clear to land, proceeding traffic plus airborne.
Nice 777 here.
FedEx 1728, line up runway 26 left.
Oh, he's taking the FedEx out first. That's interesting. You were definitely earlier at
Contact
the holding
198,
point.
line up runway 26 left.
Contact 198, line up runway 26 left. Okay, so he's not doing that.
Tower temperature 2426, can I have the stand please?
Temperature 2426, stand by for crossing. Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, contact München
Okay,
Radar
below the line,
126.075.
MCP. Set, transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, holding at landing lights.
Contract 198, wind 3436 knots, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
Contact 198, 26 left, clear takeoff. Right, stabilized. Let's help this a little bit to get out as soon as we can.
Lufthansa 455, line up runway 265.
Timing. Start takeoff thrust.
Connie 772, contact ground 108.
118, Connie 772.
80 knots.
Checked.
Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up.
Lufthansa 455, wind 23436 knots, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff. Runway 2426, cross runway 26 left,
B.
and hold and contact ground 108.
Course from
And
86
back
left and switch to common 208, thank you, 7246.
Contract 198, contact München Radar 126.075.
126.075, contact 198, just.
Lufthansa
Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps up.
270 left runway 104. München hello, FedEx 420, flight call 19 left 0 and Berlin 3 knots.
Flaps up, no lights. Set standard. Passing 39, climbing 70. After takeoff checks.
Information here, record check 1 Victor and flight call 100 FedEx 420.
VNAV.
One 33575 going to the all the way. Then
12575.
München hello, contract 198, passing 55, climbing 70. Contract 198, climb by set, level 190. Set. 190 checked. Alt intervent. Okay, so after takeoff checklist, air cannon press, 2 point something, climbing, and set.
Continue Coxie 1 Victor descending level 100 and we are here.
Altimeters, standard, passing 78, climbing 190. After takeoff checklist complete. Okay, so cleared above 150, let's go full climb thrust.
100, yeah, 105.
Altimeters, passing 102, climb 190, 10 checks. Fuel is balanced. Oh, I need some light.
Heading 150, that's fantastic.
So, fuel is balanced, full pumps on, lights off, APU off, Falcon and press, 4.3, climbing set, fast modes on, recall, checked 1 to 1.5, monitoring, 10 checks complete. This is looking nice, isn't it? Especially the reflection of the primary flight display on the window here. Und wir drehen das mal fast on 5, contract 598, just. München radar good now, contract 198, passing 151, climbing 190, inbound AUTAC.
Contract 198, München, Servus, radar contact, climb level 240.
Contract 198, climb level 240. Set, 240 checked, VNAV. 1, 2, 3, monitoring 1 to 1.5. 10 checks complete.
Delta Kilo Lima, report indicated airspeed.
Delta Lima indicated 300 knots.
Roger. Contract 198, what will be your indicated in the cruise?
Stomach. Yeah, 0.637 and an indicated, it doesn't tell me. The contract 198, it's actually going to be marked as mode 64.
Do you have to send knots for me indicated?
Not until we're reaching cruise level.
Okay, no problem.
Vertical speed.
Delta Kilo Lima for now maintain 300 operator.
Delta Kilo Lima 300 knots.
Delta Kilo Lima, danke. Contact Bremen 128.75, vorbei.
Gerne und 128.75 Delta Lima, ciao, ciao.
To go. Contract 198, it will be around 270 knots.
Contract 198, yeah, 280 or less.
280 or less, contract 198. VNAV. Concept. Alright, so here we are. Cool, so let's start setting up for the approach straight away, because this is a really short flight. Cologne, expect ILS approach 3 to right, runways 24 and 3 to right, transition level 60, 050 at 3, carbox 17, 1020. Okay, we can do that.
Also 2 Tango Yankee, Mach decimal 80 or greater.
80 or greater. Thank you.
Also 1 microtail reduced decimal 78. 78. Contract 198, contact Bremen 128.75, servus.
128.75, contract 198, cheers.
from active.
For Sierra Foxtrot, continue climb now for level 350.
Sierra Foxtrot, starting level 350.
So the 117 your squawk is now disabled, I don't know why. That is squawk 2030.
Squawk 2030 for left cluster 117.
Claim radar, schönen guten Abend, contract 198, level 240, speed 280 or less, in Mount Kuna. Claim, schönen guten Abend, contract 198, level 240, speed 280 or less, in Mount Kuma.
The contact 198, German number and radar contact. To the 117 direct gas car.
I'm sorry, can you spell?
Yep, Golf, Echo, Sierra, Kilo Alpha.
Direct Delta.
To the 927, proceed direct Neugo.
Proceed direct Neugo, Lufthansa 927.
KLM 1923, go leave my escape, Anita Unicorn 122 display. Overlook 118 November, contact Langen 1356.
Alright, so let's get a couple of charts out here.
For the 927 when ready, descend level 1102 be level at Neugo.
Descend 1102 be level at Neugo, and confirm you are responsible for Hamburg, Lufthansa 927?
Sadly not.
Okay, so threats for the arrival, yeah, it's going to be a lot of traffic. We've just heard it in Leipzig, and Cologne is usually even more busy. So they have crossing runways there as well. That gives us the threat of a potential collision on the runway. So with that, what we're going to do is we'll take it slowly, and we'll also have a listen out to what ATC is doing. So, speed 250 below 100, forecast page is in, rings from A24, 10-4, and for the arrival we'll expect radar vectors after Kopak. We have the ILS 24 in the magic box, that's starting at Phuket, 3000 feet, 3-degree glide slope, check altitude at 4.3 miles, 1630, going down to a minimum of 539er, and we have that on both sides. Missed approach, straight at 3.5 DME from KBO or 2000, whichever is later, right turn climbing To Wipper VOR 5,000 feet, and that's all in. If you go around Toga, go around flight 15, set go around thrust, trace landing over the positive rate, 400 feet. Flaps 5, 1 up, and when we're level in 5,000, engage the automatics after takeoff checks, and then we decide on the further course of action. Let's see, we need for a diversion to Amsterdam 2.5.
You haven't seen the speed from 280 not to left?
Contact 198, that's on.
Hunter, you can pick up speed 290 not.
Contact 198, confirm is that maximum 290 or do you want us to accelerate 290?
Maximum 290 not is up to you. The traffic in front is now 20 miles in front, away, and you can fly far from you.
Contact 198, roger. Our econ speed is 270, we're going to keep that, and 290 or less. Okay, so 3.5 versus 2.5, giving us about 25 minutes extra. Burning 600 kilos, landing weight 55 tons. So let's see, virtual performance tool, landing en route. Reset this real quick. So we're landing in Cologne, runway 24, 2.5, dry, 050 at 3.
Sorry for that, I see it now. Sorry for the inconvenience.
17 degrees, 1020, flaps 30, landing weight 55 tons. Calculate. Graphic, so Tango is in the region of max auto brake. We don't want to do that. We'll vacate at the end, then using auto brakes 3. Flap 30. Auto brake 3. 28 minutes of brake cooling. Where's that again? Over here? No, that's not going to be a factor for us. Alright. So, we're going to vacate the runway.
Roger, can you pick up the speed a little bit, or is for your maximum?
By the end, Bravo, cross 1 for right, and then probably parking up here in Bravo 22 or Bravo 20 again. Maybe also something over here until Bravo 30. Any of those. Any questions? Right, that's the briefing complete. Descent checklist. Pressurization, land height 300, any ice, off, approach refueled, discussed, ES outbox, checked and set. Descent checklist complete.
That's a gap, 592, hello identified. Fly 45 Charlie, descent down, flight level 190.
Descending flight level 190, climb 45 Charlie.
So, with a little bit of time left before we're going to start our descent, let's see if there are any questions in the comments that I could quickly answer.
Bremen, hello, identified. 32 speed, 28
what's my Msfs settings? Actually, that question is coming up quite a lot, so when I'm done with this flight, I'm actually going to post some images on the community tab on YouTube, where I'm going to show my settings, okay? Then you have them available straight away. So Andrew is asking, what's the time compression switches on the clock, please? That's this one here, the time compression sim rate switch. And that's something that PMDG has implemented. It's not there in the real airplane, but it's something that PMDG has implemented to make time acceleration control a little bit easier. Have a look into the introduction manual, and there you'll find a full explanation of how that is working. So someone's asking what I'm using for AI traffic, and it is the Alpha India group models. Someone's asking if I can provide my checklist to the community. Well, that's unfortunately a bit of a problem, because it is my real airline's checklist of the airline that I'm working for, and of course that's copyrighted. So I'm afraid I cannot share that with the community, sorry. I mean, you hear me do the checklist on so many videos, maybe just write it down while you hear it. Someone's asking if I'm working full-time as a real-world pilot. Yeah, I am.
Descending 190, Lufthansa on 2.4.
So, do I have advice for pilots aiming to work for the airlines? Yeah, my main advice is don't let anything demotivate you. Stay on it, keep pushing. And whenever you see an airline that's looking for pilots, apply for it. If you meet the minimum requirements. And the most important thing is not to give up, okay? That's really the most important thing. It might take a while. In some airlines you might even make it to the very last step in the assessment, only to fail the interview. But that happens, that's normal. And once you've made it into an airline, believe me, it is worth it. It really is worth it.
Unicom 927, danke, tschüss. To the 117 Unicom, good day.
Right, someone's saying that cruise thrust is constantly fluctuating. If that's happening in the real 737NG, no it doesn't. The real one sets its target thrust, and then it even allows the speed to deviate a little bit by some around 5 knots-ish. So that it doesn't have to change the thrust in order to keep the EGT constant and thereby improve engine life. That is something that PMDG aims to include with a future 737 update as well. So is there much difference between the PMDG and the Zibo, which is free? I haven't flown the Zibo. Apparently it is really good. That's what many people say. But all I can tell you is on the PMDG 737, things are modeled into really good detail. You can sit there with the AFCOM and start studying the systems, and you are not going to find many differences. So I don't know how that works on the Zibo, but the PMDG is pretty close.
Bremen radar low, the Lufthansa 8 Mike passing 195 for T-0. Lufthansa 8 Mike, hello, identified. Continue climb now, flight level 350. Continue climb to 350, Lufthansa 8 Mike. Contract 198, contact Langen 135650, turn up.
135650, contract 198, tschüss.
Ryanair 541 lang, radar low identified, climb flight level 390.
Radar, schönen guten Abend, contract 198, flight level 240, inbound Isado, request descent.
Contract 198 lang, radar low identified, descent to reach Kopak at flight level 100 and clear the Kopak to Charlie arrival.
Contract 198, descent to reach Kopak, level 100, Kopak to Charlie arrival, and we'll be requesting runway 24.
Contract 98, Roger, that's copy. Delta Kilo Lima.
So let's see, Kopak. Yeah, level 78, that's fine.
Contract
So
198 for you the same, expect
plus. Expect ILS24, contract 198, thanks.
Right now,
So that's set, 100 below, direct required after Phuket, yep.
Absent
We
to
will do that.
128750. 128750 right now, November 6 Papa Alpha, at the moment no further ATC available, monitor Unicom 122.8.
Okay, can I explain the auto prop lead system? I can, but after the landing in Cologne, okay? Because we're now starting our descent and things are getting a little bit busier again, so I'm going to continue asking questions after we've arrived on stand, and then we'll do quick Q&A sessions, okay?
Amsterdam on 575, transit Marketal,
Yeah, 1855 full establishment there. Motor on left.
Kilo 1855, that's copy. Wind 040 for us, runway 23 left, clear to land.
Clear to land to left, KLM 1855, Dankeschön.
Your wings 3 Mike Golf, request higher.
During 3 Mike Golf, for higher, contact Langen Radar 128, decimal 750.
12875, your wing 3 by close.
The 455 long radar will identify descent level 260. 762 Romeo connect Amsterdam 125, that's 750.
Amsterdam 125, that's 750,
The Charlie Kilo Lima, yeah. 4 straight in, contact Köln, correction, long radar 125 C5, ciao. Good. Delta Kilo Lima, contact long radar 135 35.
125,
FedEx 1728 long radar, low identified, cleared with Copac 2 Charlie arrival, descent flight level 100.
Level 100, we are clear to Copac 2 Charlie arrival. Then radar can provide the terrain and over, sending the flight level 250.
Yeah, then 450, long radar identified.
Let's quickly check. He cleared her for that star. In real life, they aren't using stars in Cologne. They are just either saying something like proceed Copac Vipper or proceed Copac Cola, which is the star. But well, we'll just put Cola on the fixed page and we'll remember it when we get there, but I'm not going to change there from 0 to quite yet.
2027, Avianca 15.
.48 Alpha for further climb contact Bremen radar 128.750. Radar, Airlines 34 Victor with 2 flight level 360. 34 Victor long radar low identified. When ready, descend to reach North 2 at flight level 260. When ready, descend to reach North 2 at flight level 260. Radar 34 Victor.
Avianca 155, we're descending 350 before that.
Avianca 155, that's copy. Contact 198 for straight in, contact Köln approach 135, decimal 35, ciao.
135 decimal 35, contract 118, cheers. Köln hello, contact 198, descend level 100, speed 290 or less, inbound get me.
Contact 198, long radar, low identified, descend flight level 60.
Descent flight level 60, contract 198.
German cargo 912,
Set.
speed 180 knots for greater until 60 ME, contact tower 124, decimal 75.
80, so coming on.
German cargo 912, speed 180 knots until 6 knots. Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie, speed 180 knots to 60 ME.
180 at the 6, Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie.
Easy 1258, long radar, low identified, climb flight level 200. Juliet 4545, speed 200 knots.
Speed 200 knots, Juliet 4545.
Ryanair 33 Bravo Lima, speed 200 knots. Turkish 6435, speed 200 knots. Turn right, heading at 270.
Radio speed 200, right turn 370, Turkish 6435.
Delta Alpha Kilo, correction, Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, turn right by 5 degrees, clear LS runway 2, correction, clear LS runway 24, descent 210.
Colonia approach, good evening, scanning to 31, flight to level 5000.
Take them for Delta Alpha Charlie Lima.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, turn right by 5 degrees, clear LS runway 24, descent 3000 feet, QNH 1020.
3000 feet, right by 5 and take LS 4, QNH 100, Delta.
Scaling 231, land radar, hello identified, climb flight level 200.
Climb flight to level 200, scanning to 31.
Contract 198, can we intercept the local ISO from the present position?
Contact 198, if you've got the localizer affirmed, then clear localizer 24.
Thanks, cleared localizer 24, contract 198. Alright, we're just going to use LNF since Copac is on the extended center line. Altimeters, passing 101, descending 60, 10 checks. Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, the lights are coming on. Angle of bank 25, air cannon press 4.1, descending set, fast melts on, recall checked.
Turkish 6435,
1.5 is deselected. Checks complete.
Right wing 210, cleared at altitude to right.
Right turn 290, cleared altitude to right, speed 160 till 4, Turkish 6435.
Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, speed 180 knots till 16. Juliet 4545, turn left heading 210.
Turn left, right heading 240.
Juliet 4552, Juliet 4545, turn left heading 210.
Left heading 240. Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie established ILS to right.
Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie, correction. Sorry, Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie, contact tower 124, that's 107, side to right.
124, 975, besten Dank Ryanair 2 Alpha Charlie.
FedEx 1728, land radar, hello, identified information, Zulu current descent flight level 70. And level 70. Ryanair 33 Bravo Lima, turn right heading 290, clear that estimate 32 right, speed 160 knots to 40.
One to go. Vertical speed.
Condor 72 Tango, land radar, hello, identified. Maintain flight for 100, turn right heading 300.
Right heading 300,
Juliet 4545, turn left heading 140. Correction, Juliet 4545, turn left heading 180.
That's the localizer, Warlock on, Warlock capture.
Ryanair 2814,
I'm heading
stand
243.
5,000 feet, QNH 1020, turn right heading 180.
Right, Frisk, frequency is 109.1, rings 24, run 10-4, Idents Eco, standby, set course is 243, then we're just waiting for the altimeters.
1020, break, Delta Alpha Charlie Kilo Lima, contact tower 124, that's 1975.
Skylink 45, correction, Skylink 83, long weather hello identified, climb flight level 200.
Climb 200,
Juliet 4545, descend altitude 5000 feet, QNH 1020, expedite.
Descend 5000 feet,
Ryanair 2814, turn right, link 230.
Alright, Ryanair 2814.
Contract 118, request lower.
320.
Right heading 320, Juliet 4545.
Skylink 231, monitor Unicorn 122, descend right.
Monitor Unicorn 122, descend right, for altitude.
Contract 198, cleared LS runway 24.
Contract 118, cleared LS24, confirm QNH.
Kinetic 1020. Break, Turkish 6435, connect tower 124, decimal 75.
124, 975, 6435.
Contract 118, QNH 1020.
Ryanair 33 Bravo Lima,
Set
contact
altimeter
tower,
1020.
connect tower 1,
Passing 60, climb.
75.
Sorry, passing 6000, descend 3000, approach checklist. All
Condor
wheels and
72
instruments,
Tango,
set
turn
cross checked,
left,
approach aids, checked and set.
200.
Complete.
Heading 200.
Okay, we're cleared
Juliet
for the ILS.
4545,
Approach
server right
round.
heading 330, cleared LS
Vertical
332
speed.
right. Speed 160 knots.
Catch that glide slope.
Descend right heading 330, cleared LS runway 32 right, speed 170 knots. Juliet 45.
Juliet 4545, speed 160 knots to 4.
Speed 160 knots to 4.
Contract 198, speed 180 knots or greater to 60 meters.
180 or greater until 6, contact 118. Okay, request for capture.
Contact 5, 5000 feet.
Outbound 855, land
5000 feet
now
set.
identified, climb level 140.
Descent path unachievable. I currently disagree with that. Flaps 1.
Below from the 4 kilo, land radar low identified, turn, maintain present heading, descend flight level 80.
Maintain present heading, descend flight level 80 from the 4 kilo.
Ryanair 2814, turn right heading 290, cleared LS 22 to right.
Right 990, cleared LS 22 to right.
Easy 1258, mount Unicorn to right.
Flap 5. Speed
Condor
check.
72 Tango, descend altitude 5000 feet, QNH 1020, turn left heading 160.
Flap 5.
Ryanair 28140, descend altitude 3000 feet.
Descending 3000 feet.
FedEx 1728, speed 200 knots. Condor 72 Tango, speed 200 knots. Leipzig 592, lang radar hello identified, information Zulu code, descent flight level 70.
Lieutenant, correction, Ryanair 2814, can we descend also with the glide slope?
Negative descent, Ryanair 2840, descent now, so 3000 feet.
Okay, now about 8000 feet.
Contract 198, contact tower 124, decimal 75 away.
124, decimal 975, contract 118, just.
Juliet 4545, contact tower 124, 975 away.
Ryanair 338, Bravo Lima, wind 600 degrees, 1 runway 32 right,
Current hello, contract 118, ILS 24, 180 until 6.
Contract 198, Climber Tower, no, Richard 600 degrees, continue approach.
Continue, and is runway 14 right going to be available for taxi?
14 right is available.
Roger.
Turkish 6435.
Turkish 6435, contact 121, decimal 75, goodbye.
Get down, flap 15.
175, Shutdown 6435.
Okay. Ground checks. Start switches, continuous, recall check. Speed brake. On green light. Landing get down through green. Auto brake 3 set. Flaps 25. Flaps 30. Flaps. 30, 30, green lights, holding at landing lights. Okay, we'll go non-standard, put them on right now.
Contact 198 first, wind 06 runway 24, clear to land.
Contact 198, runway 24, clear to land. Yeah, land lights on, land checks complete.
5, wind check 06 4 knots. 1 landing on
500 continue.
Roger, the 1 landing on runway 6.
Tower left side, past 10 Foxtrot with you.
Airport 7 Foxtrot, Colonel Tower, look. Which one of landing is the right?
100.
Oh, sure, break here, left side, past 10 Foxtrot.
61, contact, landing contact, going 727, up runway 24.
Minimums.
Continue.
81 on 3 after traffic 1 on
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed back up. Thrust plus normal, idle.
Number 2, run and trade for fun.
100 knots. Manual brakes. 80 knots. 60 knots. Clear left and right.
Contact 198, taxi via runway 32 left, locate via Bravo.
Contact 198, runway 32 left, vacate via Bravo. Okay.
Contact 198, locate via Tango 2, and contact 121 goodbye.
Okay, Tango 2, 121.725, contact 198, just.
EV 193, wind 06 degrees 4 knots, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
EV 193, take off, clearance, cruise Q4.
Calling control low, contract 198, vacating on Tango 2.
Contact 198, ground, guten Abend, taxi descent, Victor 18 via Tango.
Victor 18 via Tango, request Bravo 22, contract 198.
Bravo 22 requested.
Jawohl.
Contact 198, okay, roger, taxi to Bravo 22 via Tango Bravo.
Bravo 22, Tango Bravo, contract 198.
Finance 33 Bravo Lima, continue taxi descent Bravo 12 via Alpha.
So I'm wondering, but yeah, they probably made us vacate the runway early because they wanted to park us over here on the, let's call it, minor cargo parking. Like that's where usually those ATR freighters and stuff park, but the primary aircraft are usually on Bravo 22 around-ish. It's funny, Cologne actually got so many freighter aircraft that they are occasionally using the Bravo gates, well not occasionally but always using the Bravo gates, like Bravo 20 until Bravo 30 for cargo aircraft. And then you end up seeing the cargoes standing at the passenger terminal. Right, APU on, engine 2 off. Master caution, source of 2 associated. Hydraulic low pressure engine 2 associated. So that should be Bravo 2-2. Next one to the left. And here we are. Two blue, one red.
To get 4545, counting exit stand data 14 via blue line.
Exit data 14 via blue line.
Full shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps, 1 on, electrical, ground power, fasten belts, off, Winoid off, ProPeat auto, NEIs off, electric hydraulic pumps off, voice recorder switch not installed, air compacts off, engine bleed on, APU bleed off, exterior lights, steady logo, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps, open light, parking brake, cert, start levers, cut off, weather radar off, transponder, 2000 standby, CBSV in, cockpit door unlocked. Alright, that's the checklist complete. So, let's get some ground handling.
FedEx 1728, good evening, taxi stand Echo 13 via Alpha.
Taxi stand Echo 13 via Alpha.
Brakes in. Sorry, trucks are in. Brakes off. Alright, so now is the time for the Q&A session. So if you have questions, you're very welcome to ask them now, and now I'm going to try to answer as many of them as possible.
Yankee Papa ready for Yankee Papa to Fernando 0, ready for taxi to runway 24.
Yankee Papa 2590, taxi to heading point runway 24 via Delta, Alpha 3 Delta.
So, Sixilla is saying that sometimes the Amazon aircraft are also parking in Victor, yeah, but very occasionally. The 737 is usually really standing over here. So, Traveling Cat is asking, am I a pilot? Yes, I am. I'm flying the Boeing 737NG for a big European airline. Which plane am I flying in real life? It's the 737-800, 700, and the MAX. Even though I have done all the training for the MAX yet, but I haven't actually flown the real plane. So, when is Flaps 2 used in the 737NG? Flaps 2 is usually a good setting if you just have to reduce the speed a little bit more than the Flap 1 speed, but you don't want all the drag of Flaps 5. So if you're flying an 800 that's full with passengers and you're on approach, then you often end up with Flap 1 speed of about 186, 187. So if ATC then wants you to fly speed 180, then you would use Flaps 2 in order that you don't have to get all the drag of the Flap 5 setting out. So, Elling Weem is asking, could I explain the differences between the microphone selection switches? Yeah, of course. So, if we take the audio control panel here, then basically you have different radios available. VHF 1 and 2 and 3 are those over here. Number 1, 2 and 3 down here. And you can transmit on any one of them. Then you have the high frequency radio. That's installed because here, that would be it. The HF radio is installed because the 737 can fly in oceanic airspaces. So if we would be flying in an oceanic airspace, we'd be using the HF radios. The flight switch basically is the interphone that you can use to communicate with the other pilot, but also with the ground crew. So usage of the flight interphone switch is basically whenever you cannot use the sticky intercom button down here. So normally when we are flying, we'd use the sticky intercom down here. So you put that switch down and then your microphone is hot, so everything you say is going to be transmitted. But if you're on the ground and the ramp agent or the pushback truck driver is plugged in with the headset on the outside, then he is also listening to the flight interphone system. And since you don't want the pushback driver to hear all the checklist and all the talking that you might be doing, you're going to turn the hot microphone off, and then the switch is pretty useful. Even though you do have a switch at the back of the control column. Let me see if we can see it here. No, not really. Yeah, probably not the very best position we're in right now, but basically the push-to-talk key on the back of the control column is a two-way switch. If you press the upper part, you're talking with ATC. If you press the lower part, you're transmitting on the intercom. Alright, then going on, the service interphone button over here, that's the system on which the cabin crew is talking. So when they are using the handsets in the cabin, then they are talking over this system, and if you want to talk with the cabin crew, you would be selecting the service interphone switch here. And finally on the PA, you can do public addresses, so you can talk to the passengers. Apart from that, when we're going further down on the system, over here you can listen to the identifiers of the VOR 1 and 2 radios and of the ADF. You can listen to the marker beacon, and finally the speaker system is, if you want any of those switches on the flight deck speakers, would switch this on, and then you have to make sure that all three audio control panels are not switched on to intercom, because otherwise that is going to significantly mute the speakers. Then let's go on. So how do you reset the trim after landing? Basically we set the trim to 4 units, because that is providing a little bit of nose down moment in case the winds are picking up and stuff while the aircraft is parked. And we also set it to a pretty forward setting, because in my airline we tend to load the airplane pretty nose heavy. So when you see the trim at 4 units, you basically know that the takeoff trim is probably not set correctly. It happens very, very rarely that you have a takeoff trim of less than 5 units, less than 5 units. Then going on, when do you use average wind and when do you use top of climb wind? So basically we're supposed to use the top of climb wind all the time on the performance init page. So if we're here in the cruise wind, you will enter the top of climb wind. And then you go on the legs page, and when you press the LSK6 right, now that's slightly different in the aircraft of my airline versus the PMDG, because simply different software models of the FMC are modeled. So in my airline you have the route data prompt available before the route is executed. So then you click on route data, you click on next page until you reach a waypoint where the wind is shown. And there you would enter the cruise wind, because what the airplane's doing then is that it's using the top of climb wind to compute the climb speed, and then it would use the cruise wind to actually compute the cruise speed. So that's just a little fuel saving technique that my airline is using there. Right, Brady is asking to explain the cost index. So cost index is a pretty complex thing, but we can break it down into two easy components. And that's the cost of the crew and the maintenance, and basically everything it takes to operate the aircraft except the fuel, and then the cost for the fuel. And then you divide them by each other, and that's more or less giving you the cost index. So if we have, for example, high fuel costs, like we have pretty much everywhere around the world in these days, with a rather low cost for the operating crew, so rather low crew salaries, then you would end up with a rather low cost index. For example, if we take Germania Airlines, they use the cost index of 12. If we take the famous Ryanair cost index, it's 6. So that's high fuel cost with low staff cost. And then if both the fuel and the staff cost is high, most airlines are going somewhere around 20 to 30 on the cost index. And if you really happen to run into a situation where the staff is very expensive while the fuel is cheap, then we would have high cost indexes like greater than 30. And of course, if you're running really late on schedule and, for example, your destination airport is at the danger of closing down because of night curfew, then you would be using cost index 100 just to give you a very good speed. So, which flight school did I attend and how easy was it to get a job? I've attended the TFC Käufer in Essen in Germany, and it was a really good flight school. They are doing training courses for several airlines as well, like TFC was the former Air Berlin flight school. They are the current Condor and Aerologic flight school. So it's a really good school. How easy was it to get a job? Well, I finished my NTPL just when Air Berlin went bust, so with so many experienced pilots on the market, it was pretty hard to get a job in Germany where I am home. But then I've applied with other airlines from all around Europe, and then it only took a couple of months until I've had my contract. So back in 2018, it was hard to get a job in Germany because of my just because of the time when I finished. And if we disregard that situation, then it was not too hard to get a job. Now, these things do change, however, pretty quickly. So it might be very hard to get a job today, and it might become easier tomorrow. So it's very hard to predict. So in case somebody is asking me, so I'm thinking about becoming a pilot, should I do it now? Then my answer is always going to be yes, because that is impossible to predict what the market is going to look like in 2 years' time. So, next question. I noticed that you slowly close the thrust lever starting at about 20 feet as you start to check gently and hold the attitude. Would that be an accurate description? Yes, it is. Actually, you start closing the thrust lever between 20 and 30 feet. So by 30 feet, especially if you're a little bit higher, you can already start closing them gently. And the optimum case is to close, to reach idle thrust by the moment that you touch down. So there is a saying that's check, close, hold. So check means slightly pull the control column back, then close the thrust levers, and then just hold the control column until the airplane settles down. But that's easier said than done. If you know how to land the airplane, then that's a very good description. If you're learning it, then one line training captain, whom I've had my line check with this week, he said that it's very good if you know how to do it, then that's an accurate description. If you're learning it, then it might not be as easy with the hold part, because you're not supposed to let the airplane flare above the runway for a very long time, but you're actually supposed to fly it down into the runway. You just have to get the grips of it, and don't attempt to hold the airplane off. over the runway, but fly it right onto the runway, fly it onto the aiming point. And once you know how to place the airplane exactly where you want it to be, then you can slowly start working yourself into doing the landing a little bit more gently. So, Eldon is asking, do you find this simulator and PMDG 737 good to practice for your real job? That's a little bit hard to say. Because practice is a word I don't like there. You can't practice like real flying skills. It will always be different if you're sitting at home and doing something in a flight simulator, or if you're sitting in an airplane actually flying an airplane. Even the full flight simulator is a little different from the real plane. But let's put it that way. First of all, the instrument scan. If you've watched the full stream, you'll have seen that the very first flight I did without flight director. I flew it completely raw data and by hand, without autopilot. And I do that occasionally on the simulator here, because in real life I wouldn't even be allowed to do it, because we have the rule that the flight director is mandatory to be kept on, unless it's not giving you good guidance anymore. So, flying the simulator definitely helps improve the instrument scan. And you can also use it to revise non-normal checklists, revise memory items and that stuff. If you've seen my channel, you will see the 3 failure videos I did, and more will be coming in the future. And yes, I did them because I thought it would be very interesting for the community to see, and looking at the reactions, that was definitely the right choice to make. But I also kind of did them for myself, to just revise some non-normals and just go over it again and see it happening. Because when you're sitting in the real airplane, we often use cruise flight to go over some checklists again, because that is stuff that you constantly have to review, because you are basically never doing those memory items in real life. So we are constantly revising them when we have the time, just to be sure that you actually have them ready when you need them. But doing it in the simulator, even in the PMDG, is something that really makes it, in my opinion, a little bit easier to learn, because you see all the things moving, and that's something that I personally can use to learn quite a bit better than just revising things in theory. So, Rom is asking, which videos do I plan to make next? I'm looking into a live stream, maybe even 2 tomorrow, depending on how much time I can find. There is one event in the United States that I'm really keen on flying, but unfortunately it's from 1 to 3 o'clock AM my time, so I'm not sure yet if I'm going to stay awake for that long, but we'll most certainly see. Apart from that, some other full flights, live streams, are just dependent on the VATSIM events, and I will review that on a day-to-day basis on which events are coming. Then in terms of the tutorial, I most certainly plan to do the raw data flying tutorial. Then something like FMC magic, so things, tips and tricks for the flight management computer that you can use to, you know, just get some little bit better guidance out of it and stuff like this. But I'm very much also listening to the comments in the videos, because there are a lot of great suggestions in there, and I'm always trying to get inspirations from those suggestions and pick some of them up. So, the next question, am I German? Ja, ich bin Deutscher. Oscar is asking, do you have to put in all the wins for the route yourself, or is that auto-fetched? In real life, I have to put it in all myself if I want to. We are usually just using the average wind, and even looking at long flights such as from, for example, Germany or the UK to the Canary Islands, that's like 4.5 hours flights. If you put the average wind in, and if you then really take the time to program the winds for every single waypoint, it's usually making a difference in the calculation of about 1 or 2 minutes. So personally, I'm putting the average wind in, and then I can't be bothered to put the winds for every single waypoint. The PMDG has a wind uplink functionality, so you can use that to just uplink the winds automatically for every single waypoint. And I'm very sure if I could do that in real life, then I would probably do the same thing and just uplink them. Aviation 24 is asking, what does the black CO button do right beneath the speed window to the right of the auto throttle arm switch? So you mean the switch here, and that's the changeover switch. Basically, it changes the indicated airspeed readout to a Mach readout. So let's say you're flying in cruise and you've been flying on a Mach number, and then air traffic control asks you to fly an indicated airspeed, then you press that button to change the window from the Mach number to the indicated airspeed so that you can set that. So Rom is asking tips to improve landing. That's actually something that I'm probably going to do a full video about. I like that one. So, next question. Would you do a live stream on some flights to the Greek islands next time, please? Maybe Samos or Skiathos. What's my favorite airport? When I can find a VATSIM event where they are online on the Greek islands, then you can be absolutely sure I'm going to go there. Unless my work schedule forbids it, I will fly there, because there are some lovely islands there like Samos or Skiathos. Or even Corfu is really nice on runway 34. But the thing is that I barely see air traffic control booked on VATSIM. That's why on this channel I have not really flown there yet. But I am going to do it for sure. So what's my favorite airport? Honestly, I can't really answer that. There are so many great airports. Of course, theoretically I should say my home base, because I know when I'm landing there. Unless I'm heading out for another 2 sectors, then I'm going home. Which after 10-12 hours in the flight deck is probably still the nicest thing. So Brady is summarizing. In short, simulators are great for text with geology. If you want to learn to fly, go learn to fly. Yeah, that's exactly it. The simulator is great for learning theory, but you can't learn the practical part of flying. That's really, you have to do that in a real airplane. So what paperwork that is not covered in the PMDG is done in the real airline? Well, you have the tech log, of course, that you have to fill out. So for every single flight, you need to write down how much oil is there in each engine. The system display for the hydraulic quantity, you need to write down the hydraulic quantities. You need to write down exactly how much fuel there is in every single one of the tank. You need to write down how many liters the refueler uplifted, and then you need to convert that into kilos so that you can run a cross-check. Is the fuel indication accurate? In terms of, if we take the landing fuel and add whatever has been uplifted, does that match the fuel indication? So stuff like this. Then of course we have to fill out the operational flight plan. I went into detail how to do that on my last live stream from Berlin to Palma de Mallorca, so have a look at that one if you're interested in how to fill out the operational flight plan. And otherwise, in terms of paperwork, that is pretty much it. Of course, we have a load information document where we get the data from. I can show you that real quick in the virtual performance tool. So if you're going to weight and balance here, then go to the passenger version, virtual dispatcher. This is the load information document. So I could get this from SimBrief, and then it would just, if I just go into generate here, then you get all the paperwork, and then the commander is going to fill in the call sign and fill out some of the regulation compliances. But that's really mostly it then. Right, Captain 24 is saying his 737 is broken. If you have any problems with the PMDG, go to the PMDG forums or open a ticket in the PMDG ticket system. over there you're going to get the best support, and they're really good, and they're really quick as well. So Matsman is asking, do I fly cargo or passengers in real life? I'm flying passengers. Tadex asking, which SimBrief profile do you use for the freighter? If I'm totally honest with you, today I just took my profile for the Echo India Sierra Echo Victor, so for the passenger aircraft, and I just loaded the cargo into it, because I didn't get the time yet to create a profile for the freighter. I'm sorry to disappoint you there. So, someone is asking, how do I choose the landing flap setting? You choose flap 30 earlier even though there was barely any wind. Yeah, flap 30 saves you fuel as well. And the 737 handles a little bit nicer if you're flying in flap 30 compared to flaps 40. So, basically the choice is dependent on the runway that we have and where we wish to vacate the runway, but also, for example, on brake cooling requirements. So let's quickly open our performance tool again and let's start looking into this. So we can close the lid. Let's look at the landing calculation again. So under these conditions, we have the runway 24 in Cologne. That's got a length, as we can see here, of 2,459 meters. Then we've got exit Tango, that's around about 1,650 meters down the runway. And if you go a little bit further, you have the runway 32 left. That's about 200 meters further than Tango, and then you can vacate at the end. So basically, the options you have available here, as you can see in the calculation, is if you want to catch taxiway Tango, you gotta use maximum auto brake if you come in with flap 30. Otherwise, auto brake 3 is going to get you quite a bit further, and then you could only vacate at the end, and you cannot use auto brakes 2 and 1. So, since we were on the last sector of the day, brake cooling wasn't of any concern for us. So we could just take auto brakes 3, and that would give us 28 minutes of a recommended brake cooling time on the ground. So that means time at the gate with the parking brake released. So the obvious choice was, since brake cooling didn't matter, we could use flaps 30 and auto brakes 3, and that would get us quite a bit further than Tango, but we wanted to take the runway over here. So my idea was that we're going to use flap 30 and save the fuel that we would be using if we were landing with flap 40, and rather use manual braking to override the auto brake once we have decelerated below around 100 knots. And then just overbrake the auto brake so that we can vacate the runway via the runway 32 left. However, if we wanted to do, for example, another flight, and thus we would prefer a shorter brake cooling time, then we could of course use flap 40, do the calculation. So now you can see brake cooling time is reduced by 8 minutes. And you can see how auto brakes 2 even almost becomes possible. Now the next thing to do would be to take reverse credit. However, since we've got a dry runway, all that's going to change is the brake cooling time, but not the actual landing distance. So the decision whether to use flap 30 or 40 really depends on whether you have brake cooling limitations, on which exit on the runway you want to make, and finally, my default option is flap 30. If it's possible to use. So if I can use flap 30 with idle reverse, that's always what I'm going to do, because it makes the airplane a little more gentle to fly and it's going to use less fuel. But if brake cooling becomes a concern, or if we just need a little bit less stopping distance, then flap 40 is the better choice. But whenever it's possible to do something decent with flap 30, then I'm doing it. So the next question, do I live close to my home base or do I need to commute? I actually live pretty close. In fact, I'm going to work by bicycle and it's just taking me 15 minutes. To be fair though, I did get myself an e-bike because, well, being in uniform, it's not very nice to get sweaty, so I'm using an e-bike to get to work, and that's 15 minutes. That's how close I live. So, Santiago is asking, can the plane be configured in order to do a cruise flight level change from odd to even after a change on heading on the flight plan, or it needs to be done manually? You cannot program the airplane to do an automatic step climb for you. So you will need to put the MCP altitude up by 1,000 feet or down by 1,000 feet and then press altitude intervent in order to initiate the step climb or step descent. Matt Haynes is asking, what's my control setup, yoke or joystick? I'm using the Thrustmaster Boeing yoke, as well as their thrust levers and the Thrustmaster pendular pedals. So Gonzalo is asking, do I have to send the performance from the OPT to the operator for takeoff and landing? For takeoff, yes, because a copy of that needs to be kept on the ground in case an accident happens and the investigators have to follow up on your takeoff calculation. So a copy of the both load sheet and the takeoff performance calculation is sent to the operator. For the landing performance, however, since we don't have internet in flight, we cannot send it in flight, and then there is no sense sending it anymore once you've arrived on stand after landing. So we don't send the landing performance. Rom is asking, which website am I using for the performance? It's called virtualperformancetool.com, and that's basically a pretty exact copy of the real Boeing onboard performance tool software. So I can really recommend you to check it out. And currently it's in beta. However, while it is in beta, actually everybody can use it for free. So go and check it out. It's really recommendable. So Brady is asking, we often see real-life pilots playing Markets of Flight Simulator X-Plane 11. What value do you get from it? Often military pilots are reluctant to spend time in combat flight sims like DCS, which I find an interesting difference. So, which value do I get from it? I guess I have to go a little bit back in time. I started with flight simulators in like 2009, 2008, and it became a hobby of mine. And I always thought that, yeah, once I've got my first airline job, I'm going to get rid of this hobby because it costs me a ton of money for all the add-ons. And of course the computer and the hardware. But to be fair, if you're doing a hobby for 10 plus years, then chances are you're not going to get away from it anymore. And exactly that happened with me. I could get away from it, so here I still am. What do I get out of it? First of all, on flight simulators you can do some things that you can't do in real life. Like in this very stream, where I've just flown a complete flight manually without flight directors, just using raw data. That's something I couldn't do in real life. In real life the flight director is mandatory, and you're only allowed to hand fly the airplane if you're below flight level 245. And on my home base we very, very rarely are filed below that level. We only have one short flight where occasionally we are filed in the lower airspace. So there is not a lot of opportunity to hand fly complete flights. I have done it in the past, I have to add that. I've had the chance two times that I could hand fly complete flight. But that's 2 out of maybe 2,000 flights that I've done so far. I would have to look up the exact number, but you get the idea. You can't do it a lot. So that's one thing, that you can just do things that you basically never get to do in real life. Then the other is that in Flight Simulator you can and only in Flight Simulator, you can push the boundaries a little, but you can see like, right, if I do this, is that gonna work? How's that gonna work? But that's really just feeding the curiosity. And that is not for, let's say, practicing anything for real life. No, not at all. And then of course you can, as I said earlier on, you can revise your memory items. You can see some non-normal procedures in action if you have an add-on that actually supports them. And what I also like to do from time to time is to do some VFR flying without any GPS or anything in the simulator. So flying halfway across Germany from let's say for example from Düsseldorf to Sylt, without autopilot, without GPS, with nothing but the chart. That's also really nice. And for combat pilots, yeah, us airline pilots, we fly a lot with the automatics, while combat pilots are really a lot hands on the controls. And I can imagine that for combat aircraft it's probably going to be even more different than with airliners. So I can sort of guess why they might say, yeah, well, this is too different, so I'm not going to do that. So Melly is asking to show my Msfs settings. I'm actually going to upload screenshots of them on the YouTube community site so that everybody can see them, because I get asked this question a lot. So I will upload screenshots of the full settings later today or tomorrow. So Gonzalo is asking, do I know where to get the checklist and manuals if it's not from the old PMDG? Well, you can run a Google search. You are going to find a quick reference handbook. You are probably going to find an AFCOM. So just run a Google search and you will come across some real life 737 documentation. Yeah, Brady. Basically for the fun of it. That's exactly it. In the end, it's a fun hobby. And I just find you can't really be a pilot without loving aviation. And in the simulator it is just a bit different, but yeah, it's great fun. Alright, I think I have covered pretty much all the questions that I've got over here. So if you have any more questions, just put them in the comments, and I'll just stand by here for a minute or two, seeing if there's any more questions coming up. So, Celia is asking, do I normally not set the parking brake when I arrive at the gate because of chocks and brake fans? The procedure we do is this. When we arrive at the gate, we do set the parking brake, but the ground crew is pretty quickly going to put the chocks into position. So then, the pilot monitoring for the next sector is going to check when he is going outside for the walk around and visually verify that the airplane is correctly chocked. He's going to signal that to the pilot remaining in the flight deck, who is then going to release the parking brake. And the reason we have to release the parking brake at the gate is that the brake cooling schedules from Boeing are made for the parking brake not being set. So they are made for the brake being released. And the brake cools a lot quicker when the brake is released. Therefore, the target is to get the brakes off once the chocks are in position as quickly as possible, so that the brakes can cool for the next flight. And brake fans, well, we don't have something as fancy as that in the 737. We have our brake cooling schedule tables from the AFCOM or other approved source, so that basically means the onboard performance tool. And you release the brakes, you start your timing, and then you'll just have to wait. So Mella is asking, how did I get a SimBrief profile for the cargo 737? I basically didn't. I took a freighter model in SimBrief, and then I just set X tons of cargo. And that's basically what I did. Because the airframe is exactly the same as it is for the 737-700 passenger version. The only difference is the big cargo door you have up here. And just as a fun fact, this door alone weighs 2 tons more than the normal fuselage here. Yeah. So basically I just took a normal passenger profile. So, Black Cobra is asking, what about the auto-propeat? Yeah, sorry, I overlooked that question. I saw it earlier when we started the descent. So basically, what auto-propeat is doing is that you no longer have an off position for the propeat. So, it's either auto or on. And when they are in auto, whenever the engines are running, it's going to switch on the propeat by itself. Because there is no procedure that I'm aware of right now where you would actually switch off the propeat in flight. So that's basically a protection from Boeing that in case a pilot forgets to turn on the propeat, then they would come on automatically once the engine are started. And same when you're taxiing in. With the switches in auto, the heaters are only going to go off once the engines are shut down. Right, I hope that answers the question. If not, just keep asking, and I'll try to explain a little bit better. So Dave is asking, do you have to put the gear down before flaps 15 degrees? Well, basically yes. The flaps are going to extend with the gear up if you select the lever. However, with the flaps at 15 and the landing gear not down, chances are that with low thrust settings you are going to get the landing gear configuration warning on. So that's basically why you extend the landing gear first and then place the flaps to 15 seconds. But as you've seen in the video, the call is just gear down, flap 15, so it is a second between putting the gear lever down and putting the flap lever into the 15 position. Luca is asking, how do you treat auto ignition? The honest answer to that is, my airline doesn't have it. I actually don't know which airlines would have it. And I'm not very familiar with the auto ignition system, so as far as I know, you no longer have to put the switches into the continuous position when you're turning on anti-ice. But again, my airline doesn't have the auto ignition feature, so I can't answer that question 200%. So Black Cobra is asking, what exactly do the Eecs do? So the Eecs is the electronic engine control, and maybe you're familiar with the term FADEC in Airbus aircraft or even in some other manufacturers' aircraft. So the electronic engine control is basically limiting the thrust output that the engines can give you dependent on the external conditions. So they take into account the outside temperature, and they also do a little bit of a magic when you're increasing or reducing thrust, like introducing fuel at the correct rate and that kind of stuff. So basically they are providing an automatic protection for the engines to make it harder for the pilot to exceed any engine limitations. So Peter is asking, any inside information on the upcoming update for the PMDG? I have actually not gotten any details about the coming updates yet. My guess is that the developers are right now focusing on some of the bigger stuff that they could do prior to the release, like implementing the new LNAV model that's been work in progress for the 747. Robert Randazzo pointed to that in the forums, that he wants to bring it into the 737 soon. So that's probably something going on in the background now. And of course also some bug fixing. Like, as with any release, customers have found stuff that the testers never came across. So they're probably also fixing some of that. But as said, I have not gotten any further update yet since the release version of the 737. So Neot is asking, is it possible to set a waypoint to track a heading until a certain altitude, like runway track until 2000 feet? You cannot program that manually. It can only come from the database. So if you have a SID that includes a restriction like that, you are going to get it, but you cannot program that manually. Sixila is asking, do you fly to Cologne in real sometimes? Yes, I do. Cologne is in the route network of my airline, and yes, I do fly there from time to time. Alright, I think I've covered pretty much all the questions for now. If you have further questions, write them in the comments below the videos, and I'm going to try to answer as many there as I possibly can. So we'll keep it at this for today's stream. Thank you very much, and I'm wishing you all a great weekend, and probably hopefully see you again on a future stream tomorrow. Or maybe on Monday, we'll see. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you all again pretty soon.